nature. As far as an individual is concerned, perfect human nature is a must for her life to go to supreme life space. As for the all human beings, it is the prerequisites to establish justice, peace, and happiness of human value system. Without perfect human nature, individual not only cannot get happiness, but also has no bright future. The mankind can never avoid the state of ups and downs in competition, confrontation, and war. The 8 conditions of perfect human nature. Revere greatest creator. Revere gods and Buddha. Revere other people. No mind of losing and winning. No mind of combating. Revere nature. Modest, trustworthy, and honest. Be sympathetic and compassionate. Be able to adjust and stay calm in both good times and bad times. Conform to the laws of nature. Seek not the special and abnormal. Love life. Love labor. 一、敬畏上帝，敬重神佛，尊重他人。1. Revere the greatest creator. Revere gods and Buddha. Respect other people. Revere the greatest creator. We have already known that the greatest creator is the creator of the universe, the Lord of all the gods in the kingdom of heaven, the cradle of life, the birthplace of wisdom, the motive power of the universe, and the energy center of the hyperphysical world. The greatest creator has the 8 features. The greatest creator is unique, formless, neutral, mysterious, impartial, merciful, almighty, and wise. He exists in the negative universe in his spirit form and maintains the orderly operation of the universe by means of Tao, namely mana. The greatest creator has no fixed form. He can become any form of things in the universe. He is not the universe, yet everything in the universe is derived from him. He can accomplish anything as long as he wishes. If he wants the moon be removed, it can be done at any time. If he wants to make the Mars full of vitality, it will soon be realized. We humans have nothing to be proud of. We can neither control the Earth's moving, nor our birth and death. We can neither prevent thunder lightning nor control over tube ebb and flow. Without the things bestowed by the greatest creator, we cannot survive for even 1 minute. What has the dauntless revolutionary spirit of fearless to God and fearless to the earth brought us? Nothing but confusion, poverty, ignorance, and backwardness. The result of fearing nothing, daring to do anything. The sayings that man being the soul of the universe, man being able to conquer nature is belief crisis, a damaged nature, legal illiteracy and illiterate demoralization. Everyone has his own standards and claims, I am the number one. What a terrible thing. As the Tao Te Ching. When people have no fear of force, then, as is the common practice, great force descends, the great dread is the greatest creator. If we don't revere the greatest creator, the flood of Noah's time will befall again. Do we dare not revere the greatest creator? Only by revering the greatest creator can we have wisdom. Only by revering the greatest creator can we have life and peace. Only by revering the greatest creator can we have a bright future. Any infinite exaggeration of the human ability can do nothing but cause the destruction of humankind. As far as an individual is concerned, anyone who doesn't revere the greatest creator will never have a chance to go to the 1000, not to mention 10,000 world and the Elysium world. We can be arrogant and despise animals and plants. We can be bold enough to conquer the space, but our wisdom is far from controlling the thunder and lightning and ebb and flow. Our wisdom is far from controlling volcanic eruption and earthquake fission, sudden incidents, aging, and dying. So please do not say anything profane to the greatest creator. Please do not be cocky and supercilious. How to revere the greatest creator. Reverent to the greatest creator as if walking on wire or treading on the thin ice. Do not ignore the greatest creator and turn to worship other gods or Buddha or worldly great man. Be grateful to the greatest creator from beginning to end. Do not distort the greatest creator and do not profane the greatest creator. Could not speak and act in the name of the greatest creator. Revere gods, celestial beings, and Buddha. Gods specially refer to the gods who maintain the order celestial universe. For humans, refers to Jesus and Satan. The commander of the gods is Allah, the greatest creator. Celestial beings and Buddha are the angels. Celestial Buddha is mainly the gods. In the universe, gods are above Buddha, Buddha is above man, man is above the animal is above the plant plants are above the mountain rocks and rivers. Mountain rocks and rivers are above the meteorology, and the meteorology is above bacteria. Bacteria is above all living creatures in the hell. All living creatures in the hell are above the suffering creatures in the frozen layer and inflamed layer. There was only one God appeared in the man's world. That is Jesus. In the history of 3 millenniums years, there appeared one Buddha. He is Sakyamuni. The last man in human society got revelation from God is Muhammad. Besides those, every other gods or Buddha are fake and evil. But in the man's world, there are countless celestial beings, bodhisattva. Due to the shallow knowledge of negative universe, negative space, negative time, antimatter, human being cannot see the matters beyond the light of 700 nanometer and cannot hear the sound beyond 20 to 20,000 hertz frequency outside. So they can't know the gods and Buddha. But we cannot deny the existence of gods and Buddha because we cannot see them. The key to revere gods, celestial beings, and Buddha is to revere Jesus, Laozi, and Sakyamuni. Through their disciples, Jesus and Sakyamuni had left us a wealth of knowledge and profound wisdom. Through Tao Te Ching, Laozi explained to us the meaning of Taoism. What they said is the first rule is to conduct oneself and the path leading to the eternal life. To revere to Jesus, the main thing is to understand and comply with the teachings of Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. You must read by yourself, do not listen to the hearsay, and make judgments in order to avoid misunderstanding. To revere Sakyamuni, the main thing is read the sayings of Sakyamuni recorded in Buddha's scriptures and to savor its profound truth. If you don't understand, you can consult Buddhism figures or unworldly higher beings. The most important thing is to get inspiration, to draw inferences about other cases. To dissect a sparrow, you should know the physiological structure of all sparrows. There is no need to dissect them all. When you get the structure of water from anywhere as H2O, then there is no need to conduct laboratory analysis to all the water on the earth. When you realize the truth of Buddha is one, Buddha has no settled rules, then you can know all the Dharma and you can have a general view and no need to study all the voluminous Buddhist scriptures. Revere gods, celestial beings, and Buddha, the human nature will be sublimed. Revere gods, celestial beings, and Buddha, you can understand the true wisdom. Revere gods, celestial beings, and Buddha, you can understand the negative universe. Revere gods, celestial beings, and Buddha, you can find the passage to life. Revere gods, celestial beings, and Buddha, you will get infinite benefits. Many people regard reverence to gods, celestial beings, and Buddha as superstition. This is a great misunderstanding. The known world is small, but the unknown world is very large. We should not limit ourselves in the known world due to our ignorance and waste our beautiful life. Respect other people. From the standpoint of secular, people are divided into lowliness and nobleness, but from the essence of life, people are equal. No one's life is nobler than ours, nor is their life lower than ours. As a person with perfect human nature, we have to treat life equally, namely to treat people equally, whether he is a president and great scientist or just a civilian or an ordinary people. Whatever he is, healthy and handsome or disabled or ugly, whether he is a millionaire or penniless, whether he is centenarians or a just-born baby, whether he is a royal or in jail, whether believes in Islam or Jainism, we should show our respect to them. What we mean by respect is to accept belief, habits, hobbies, and features different from that of ours. For instance, if you believe in Buddhism, you cannot discriminate against Judaism. If you believe in Christianity, and you can't be egoistic and belittle atheism. You get the habits of drinking tea, but you cannot interfere with those who drink coffee. You like simplicity, but you cannot blame those who like wearing jewelry. You like art, but you should not belittle those who are addicted in commercial making money. Maybe someone would ask, must we respect those who spit everywhere, use drugs, flirt with women, plunder, bully, and oppress the kind and the weak as well? My answer is yes. You need to respect them. His habits and conducts only represent that he is uncivilized, ill-bred, demoralized, which is different from the essence of life. The sun shines on everyone. The moonlight spread to all the corners on the earth. There is no garden without its weeds. The essence of life, people only, has no class of high or low level, so we have no reason not to respect them. I list some of the performance showing no respect to others for your reference. Spit and relieve everywhere. Talking loud in public places. Do not flush the toilet and littering. Break into one's house without notifying. Annoying others and disturbing others' business. No queuing. Do not take turns to get service. Disturb others' rest and peace. Unpunctual for appointment, meeting, and dinner. Promises were made to be broken. Blow one's nose when eating. Scold or abuse one's wife or children when there is a visitor. Laugh at, mock, and speak sarcastically. Abuse. Beat others. Abuse. Threaten children, including their own children. Deprive children's normal entertainment. Force them to learn. Spit on somebody. Yield to seniors. Stare to the youngsters. Unfold others' secrets. Blame the relatives and friends of others. Force others to change their beliefs. Force others to have sex. Limit others' freedom, including wife and husband relation. Ignore others' well-intended respect. Bribe superior and force them to take presents and bring them to a dilemma. Look down upon the disabled. Knock others' door at midnight unless something urgent. Blow horns casually when driving. Using vulgar language. Swear a lot. Going to a banquet wearing slippers or sloppy dressed. Wear mini skirt or bare-chested in formal occasions. Flirt with others' wife or husband. Keep the borrowed things and do not to compensate for damages. Waste others' time. Take something or somebody favored by others. Slow driving in the fast traffic lane while fast driving in a slow traffic lane. Do not walk on the pavement in the busy traffic area, cross the road and block traffic. Lying, starting a rumor, or making inaccurate reports. Let the dog bite people. Take advantage of one's power to bully people. Put one's feet on the tea table when there is guest. Turn over others' bookshelf without permission. Use defective goods as presents. Selling inferior goods. Start to drive when passengers are not yet on board. Drivers who speak these words. Are you looking for death? You want to die? Are you blind? To people who block their traffic. Let dilettanti do the adept work. Using the incompetent as leaders. Ask the experts to do the works they are neither interested nor familiar with. Organize meetings and force others to take into political ideology. Search others' body and purse without official permission. Tracking, investigating, and monitoring others with false charges. Mocking, speaking sarcastically and disdaining one's students as a teacher. Cracking down students' self-esteem and self-confidence. Finding all sorts of excuses to collect fees. Degrade colleagues and peers. Speak bad words behind others' back. Be jealousy and demean others' achievement. Excessively touting, praising, and making negative praise. On looking, kicking up a fuss, instigating. Peeping others' letters. Sneeze, cough at others. Deliberately to go public places when informed to have infectious disease. Interference with others' private life. Humiliating others. Let others do business works on holidays or resting days. Farting and taking off shoes and socks in public places. Damage others' image and reputation with false charges. Make random guess and infer others' words and deeds and developing trend as per his personal thinking. Show off extravagancy in front of the poor and display knowledge in front of the illiteracy. Plagiarize. Copy others' research results. Exploit others' labor and rights. Stripping others' private property accumulated through hard labor. Enter into others' restricted area without permission. Mining others' ancestral grave. Flashing headlights on full beams to the cars and people in the opposite direction when driving at night. Every speech and practice that embarrassing people. The above listed performances of showing no respect for others cannot be regarded as a criminal offense, but just because these trivial matters cause the great pains in life. If everybody can respect others, needless to say, the world will be a fairyland. But it is impossible for everyone to learn to respect others, unless the human world is managed and everything from food to transportation are supplied by gods, and then execute compulsory measures, where everybody has already had the perfect human nature. All the other behaviors that violating state laws or hurting others are not showing respects. 2. 无胜负心,斗争心. Have no sense of winning and losing or rival. The meaning of life lies to pursue truth and be an immortal rather than try to compete and gain victory. A man who doesn't sublimate his own personality does not pursue the perfect human life, but rather spends all his time and energy to struggle for money and wealth, fame and status, success and victory, glorify and illustrate his ancestors, or to leave a name in the history, he is putting the cart before the horse. The only path to the supreme life space is the perfect human nature. All the rest are nothing but the cumbersome and rubbish of life. Those who have no sense of winning and losing or rival should realize that you are unique in this world. You have your own life and the right to pursue a better life. You are behaving yourself in the standards of Allah and the greatest creator, rather than those standards of the secular society. You get proper conditions of existence through labor. You need not to spend precious life for worthless things. As a member of the human society, you should do your duty and obligation, rather than satisfy the vanity and pride for the catering of the world. If you are a piece of grass, you should not envy the upright poplars and delicate peony. If you are a rose, you should not laugh at the small grass and the dull willows. Don't reduce your life standards and bend your knees to the secular because of the persecution of life. Do not force yourself to do something you do not like. Working is for the sake of perfect humanity. If you are prompted and granted with higher ranks, it is fine. It is not right if you dare not to play golf simply because you are a president. It is not right if you dare not to go to the lake for fishing simply because you are a Nobel Prize winner. And you cannot forbid yourself to lie down naked in the outdoor bathing place simply because you have been granted as a moral master. Determined not to be the slaves of money, wealth, fame, status, beauty, family, nationality, country, others, or religion. Do not override on anyone. Also, don't succumb to anyone. You are equal with all other people. The ups and downs, frustrations, and tortuous of your life are nothing but the pure ornament of your life. They are not success or failure. So do not be happy for the success and cry for the failure. Anyone cannot suppress you in the name of gods, celestial beings, and Buddha, because first you are a man. Nobody should comfort you and guide you with the illusion of the future himself is not clear. You have to enjoy the beautiful life belong to you in this lifetime first. Don't let other people's beliefs, which they can't even follow, to confine you. You should have your own standards. Let others enjoy the competition, contest, combating, and fighting. Don't get yourself involved. You should go on your life journey, in your own pace and speed. The most promising one in the human society is not a president, a scientist, a national hero, nor an artist, a writer, an ordinary civilian, but a man with perfect humanity. Shakyamuni Buddha has declared that I have obtained the passionless samadhi and that I surpass all men. I am, therefore, the highest passionless arhat, which means once you reach the state of no win and no lose, you reach the highest ideal of being a man. And when you reach this state, you are transcending life and death. You are no longer in need of transmigration. Those who don't like compete and have no preference on winning or losing are the living Buddha, the celestial beings, and the great men in the world. The ones who have reached the state of carefree of winning and losing have the following characteristics. Do not participate in any activities that characterized with winning and losing, and will not judge people's success or failure, merits, or weak or strong by winning or losing. Do not care about the first or second place, whether it is work, study, or recreation and entertainment. Whether it is inheriting, promotion, or getting dividends, or getting along with colleagues, or choosing professions. They take what belongs to them. They do not plot, fight for, and rob for something does not belong to them. Leave the right of life to others and death to themselves when in need. Those who reach a mind of no competition have the following characteristics. Do not accept the evolution view of the law of the jungle, the survival of the fittest. They believe that human society can be in the same boat and coexist with each other peacefully. In any field of human activities, there is a best way of peaceful settlement. There's no need to intrigue, cheat, vie, and fight against each other. When people around are attracted by interests and desires and can't wait to fight for them, you just stand aside and be indifferent and see how they fight fiercely to blood bleeding. There is no winner in life. Circumstances alter cases. Fortune is variant. Everyone has to go empty-handed in the end. So what is the point to fight and show off? A person who does not know what his tomorrow is like is always a floating cloud, a leaf in the autumn season, a fish in the pond, a worm in the grass. Look back the history. The fighting for success or failure, winning and losing among human beings has little difference with the battles among animals, such as flies fighting for blood, mole crickets and ants fighting for food. rats biting and chicken pick, fox and wolf chasing, dragon and tiger fighting. You cannot find too much civilization in that. Time and tides wait for no man. So you should cherish your limited time. Do not let earthly disputes get your mind disturbed. Do not fall in the slough and lose yourself in the fighting for victory. 3. Reverent to nature. Nature is the precious gift given by the greatest creator, and the earth is the homeland for our cultivation. The rising sun, the gentle attractive moonlight, the twinkling stars, the fresh morning, the cool breeze in the evening, the white clouds floating in the blue sky, the rippling sea, the silver shinning beach, the boundless prairie, the primeval forest of green pines, the vast Gobi, the running streams, each high mountain, every valley, each landscape, each river, gives us countless beautiful enjoyment, triggers us infinite yearnings and endless imaginations. We are being nourished by nature, and we are unselfishly dedicated by nature. Every piece of grass, every fistful of soil, every insect, every bird, every piece of wind, every drop of water, all are our lifeblood. When we rejoice in the tremendous progress of modern industrial civilization, staring at the dense smoke from big chimney of the industry, when we are enjoying the power output from countless nuclear stations, using the refined diesel, gasoline from numerous refinery, when we block one river after another from in the middle and build those impounding dams, when we hoping the biology gene engineering will bring us peaches greater than the watermelons, how many of us have realized that our human beings are committing chronic suicide, are digging graves to bury ourselves, when human are being cocky and arrogant and believing that man can conquer the nature? When we are in a full swing to destroy the mountain forests for terrace, remove the grassland for cultivated land, fill the puddles of water for farmland, and turn green mountains and rivers for mining plant, does it ever occur to anyone that we are overdrawing the blessing of our offspring in our next life? When the pesticide is used everywhere and there is no trace of insects and birds, when rats are killed by medicine and cats are fed by people, when the fishing net are tightly woven and the fish and shrimp find nowhere to hide, when wanton hunting the wild animals in nature for ivory, rhinoceros horn, velvet antler, musk, bear's paws, bird's nest, monkey brains, snake gale, tiger bones, leopards, and so on, when people intend to eat everything and dare to anything and are fearless to heaven and the earth, how many of us have realized that we are committing sins and accelerating the destruction of human? When people are spending a lot money to buy famous paintings and sculptures for collection and are intoxicated in indoor landscape, when people are fascinated by the virtual space of computer network and cannot extricate, when a building after another are stretching out in all directions and people are parsing for their intelligent masterpiece and are going beyond themselves, when people are bathing in the prismy neon, drinking champagne and good wine, eating delicacies of every kind, listening to the singing stars, wearing the fascinating miniskirt and are feeling unrestrained and cheerful, how many people can hear the nature is crying behind us? When people admire Bill Gates and are chasing wealth and trying to make a great fortune overnight and brazenly discharge the waste gas from the factories to the atmosphere, when people allow the sewage of the fertilizer plant to seep into the underground, when people pour the hospital infection virus water into rivers and the waste oil from the ship into the sea, how many of us have realized that we are committing crimes and we are murdering people? How to reverent to nature. Do not wear leather jackets or leather shoes or ornaments made from animals. Do not use bags or belts made from animal skins and furs. Do not eat the meat of wild animals. Do not drink any wine or other beverage mixed with the raw materials of animals. Do not raise, catch, and damage wild animals. Do not cut down trees and plants excessively. Do not involve in any activities that will pollute the air, the earth, the rivers, or any other activities harmful to nature. Do not overpraise any human masterpiece. Reverent to nature and protect nature, and in turn nature will love us, protect us, and breed us. 4. 谦逊守信诚实. Modest, trustworthy, and honest. True modesty is seeking truth from facts, neither exaggerates nor disdains oneself. If Einstein says, "I am one of the greatest scientists," most scientists are not as good as I am, and some of them are not worthy enough to be my servant. We cannot say Einstein is arrogance, not humble, because that is the truth. If the Mao Zedong says, "I know little of politics tactics," I am no better than Qin Shi Huang, Emperor Liu Che in Han Dynasty, and Emperor Li Shimin in Tang Dynasty. Neither am I as good enough as Lin Biao, Zhou Enlai, and Liu Shaoqi. Then, it is considered as humble, because that's not the fact. The sun is modest, the moon is modest, the peony is modest, and the grass is modest. The sun says, I am not as tender as the moon. The moon says, I am not as brilliant as the sun. The peony says, I am not as easy-growing as the grass. The grass says, I am not as delicate and dear as the peony. The sun says, the moon is nothing. It is neither bright nor dark, neither near nor far, sneaks in and out, hides in the day and comes at night. How can it compare with me? See glorious and radiant, bright and open upright I am. The moon says, the sun is nothing. It hangs naked in the sky. It is defiant, insolent from the masses. It is neither reserved nor modest. How can it compare with me? See how considerate I am to allow stars to twinkle. Peony says, what? Are you talking about the grass? The mean and messily scattered grass? How can it compare with me? I despise the bigwigs and dare to fight with the emperor. Can you? Are you qualified to do that? You know nothing except swing in the wind and being manipulated and kissing the ground and seeking for momentary ease. But I can bring the elegant, wonderful enjoyment for the people. Have you ever heard of the Peony Festival in Luoyang? That is specially designed to praise me. Little grass, are you able to do that? Useless thing. Grass says, peony? You mean the painted skin, who knows nothing but swindle by false pretenses, seduce elite for its appearance, the showy, arrogant thing? Nothing to be boasting of. Were you not driven gloomily out of the forbidden city by a piece of paper order from Wu Zetian? Just look at us. Wildfire cannot burn us all. When spring comes we are growing again. When did you ever see we bend our noble heads to the human beings? Luoyang Peony Festival? Isn't it a narcissism farce of stealing the spotlight and relying on sensationalistic poor praise from human? Take a look at us grass, persistent through tremendous grinding and hardship, unbending no matter winds come from which directions. We have all traces in each and every wildness, in each valley and gobi. How can a small Luoyang city hold our footprint? Are you kidding? This is being not humble. I know someone who was same as me and was brought up in a peasant family background. Later she got some fortune by borrowing money from someone and became a shopkeeper's wife. She often says something like this, look the ill-breed ghost of poverty. They are annoying me to death. Every time I heard this, I felt like a fishbone in my throat, hard to spit out or swallow in. People forget the past suffering quickly and much quicker than the speed of the rockets. This kind of words forgetting one's class origin is just being not humble. The truly modest people can reach this kind of state. Everything in the universe is equal. I am nothing special. The universe is full of secrets and mysteries, and what I know is just a little. There are always bigger mountains than the one I know, and the sky I see is not the entire sky. There are many turns in life, and there are still a lot for me to learn. Being trustworthy is one of the significant symbols of perfect human nature. Being trustworthy is to fully to assume responsibility and obligation. Being trustworthy is to practice what you preach. Being trustworthy is not talking nonsense and deceiving others. Parents raise children carefully is being trustworthy. Children support the old as being trustworthy. The underlings do a good job as being trustworthy. Superiors show concern and care to the subordinates as being trustworthy. Strictly implement the contract, agreement is being trustworthy. Keep one's word, and do not disappoint others as being trustworthy. Otherwise, it would be trustless. A trustful man can be relied on and can be entrusted with authority. A trustful man has conscientiousness and won't fail you. A trustless man is unknowable and cannot be entrusted. A trustless man is dangerous and enjoys quibble. Honesty is the human nature. Simple is the nature of substances. Cunning is the nature of beasts and transcending is the nature of Buddha. Honesty can be recognized as practical and realistic, neither enlarge nor lessen. Not knowing is not knowing, incapable is incapable, dear is dear, horse is horse, putting on the emperor's new cloths, means wearing nothing at all, thirsty is thirsty and hungry is hungry. What says in the mouth is what keeps in the mind, not beating around the bush nor steering according to the wind, or deceiving his superiors and deluding his subordinates. Dishonesty can be recognized as the true mingled with false, being speculative, pleasing someone against one's will, neither, confusing one thing with another, crossing the sea under camouflage, looking one way and rowing another, pretending to be obedient while looking for another way to escape, one face to God and another to the devil, putting a needle inside cotton, unmatched words with deeds, lying, quibbling, reneging a promise, deceiving, adulterating, giving short measure, lack of sincerity. Promises were made to be broken. Dishonest focuses on the four areas of battlefield: marketing place, official circles, love field, where being honest means failure and elimination. But this is not what human intelligence and wisdom crystallization, but the exterior syndromes of evil and sinful human nature. An honest man among a bunch of liars is just like a sheep enters a herd of wolves. A dishonest man among a group of honest people is just like a wolf mixed in a herd of sheep. An honest man might not do something big in a man's world, but he can enjoy a lifetime serene and peace as well as the blessing from another life. Dishonest people can have their days momentarily, even a lifetime, but they cannot have a quiet and peaceful mind and cannot enter the 1,000-year world in the next life. No matter how perilous the life is and how unpredictable changes of our destiny, if you want to have the perfect human nature and obtain good future of eternal, you must be honest and look further into the future and find more valuable life goal, and temporarily give up the lose and gain of a city or town. You must take off the burdens of life and firmly stride towards a more brilliant future. Otherwise, the life can only be transmigrating in the low's life forever. 5. 有同情心,怜悯心, I. 5. Be sympathetic and compassionate love. Be sympathetic and compassionate love is the supreme level of human nature. It is the definite bridge and path to the Buddha. Compassion is to show sympathy to the fate of human misery. Sympathy is to take pity on the tragic result of each individual. It is a sad and stirring image when you review at the history of mankind. Although there are a few images appeared to be smooth on the surface, yet under the seemingly calm picture, there is another open and secret struggle and a distressed view. Let's leave the Flood Noah era and the Black Plague in modern Europe and the Second World War aside. We are shocked to witness the wars between tribes, race, religion, political parties, and the interest disputes between groups, and all these make us lose our confidence in life. Where is the wisdom of human? Where is the way out? Was the brutal struggle the optimum power to drive human history forward? We cannot but help to be grieved and be sympathetic on that account. Okay, let's narrow the top from the entire humankind to the perspective of individual. Look at the dead and the dying and the thousands of millions who are going to die. How many of them have acquired a perfect life? Hunger, disease, anxiety, fear, worry, death has lodged everyone's mind and body. Who can live a life as unrestrained as wishes? The temporary happiness of the poets and artists, musicians cannot conceal their long-time suffering of their minds. The momentous glory of hero, millionaire, emperor cannot block their long-time hesitation. The seemingly power and prestige of the presidents does not mean their mind is more peaceful and calm than the ordinary people. The daily increasing wealth of the businessmen cannot erase their inward anxiety, let alone the helpless ordinary civilians. After thousands of years' exploration, man still cannot find a good way of living. Isn't that sympathetic? Be sympathetic and compassionate will submate our personality. Without sympathy and compassion, we have no difference with plants, and we will be the same as wild with beasts. Be sympathetic and compassionate will make us clever, intelligent, and reasonable. Yet we have to be cautious that for the people who are strongly self-respected, showing sympathetic and compassionate feeling is regarded as a humiliation. So we cannot easily show compassion and mercy either expression or in action. If anyone is hungry, but if he doesn't appeal to you, don't go to help him. If someone suddenly comes to harm, but if he doesn't appeal to you, don't go to help him. Some people are unreasonable, with undistinguished love and hate, capricious, biting the hand that feeding them. If you sympathize with him and have mercy on him, and he will bring you endless troubles. Like the fable of the farmer and the snake. The farmer showed sympathy and pity on the snake, yet was bitten to death by the poisonous snake. Another example is about marriage. If you get married not because you love and fond of each other, but out of sympathy and pity, then when the days come, you will not find real happiness, and you would become the object of sympathy and compassion. 六无论处于顺境还是逆境，能自我调整，保持平静。X. Be able to adjust and stay calm in both good times and bad times. The road of life is full of twists and turns. There are uphills, downhills, broad ways and narrow paths, sometimes narrow winding trails, sometimes thorn-strewn paths, and sometimes no way to go. Especially when a person begins to explore the road of life, truth of the universe, his path becomes more dangerous and rugged and is full of crises. The more terrifying thing is no peers, no companions, and one can only walk alone. From time to time you can hear the howls of wolves, the roars of tigers, the hiss of snakes, and the calls of ghosts. The misunderstanding of the crowds, the incomprehension of the relatives, the instructions of the masters, and the habitual thoughts formed through thousands of years make your mind gaunt, tired. Sometimes you are very anxious to lie down and fall asleep, and hope that you will never wake up again. When we are in good times, we should not be arrogant, but should attribute all the benefits to the blessing of the greatest Creator. We should be thankful in our hearts, so as not to be eaten up by pride and beget sorrow out of the extreme joy. When we are in bad times, we should not give ourselves up as hopeless, regarding all the disadvantages as the faults of our own words and deeds, as the evil punishment for ourselves. In this way we would not hate heaven, hate the earth, hate society, and hate others. We can maintain a calm state of mind, can make vigorous efforts to turn the situation so as to turn the foul and rotten into the rare and ethereal and turn the bad times into the good times. Here are some ways to deal with particular bad times. Bereaved father in early youth, bereaved wife in prime life, and bereaved son when aged. This is the greatest misfortune for human life, which will make people lonely, confused, perplexed, inferior, and desperate. When such unfortunate time comes, one should perceive things this way. Misfortune generates happiness, and happiness breeds misfortune. Misfortune works as the best catalyst to Buddha. Misfortune can make people attain deeper level understanding on human life and can enlighten one's understanding on the essence of life. As long as we keep calm, accept it naturally, do not underestimate our own capabilities, and continue to work hard, we will soon step on the road leading to supertime space. Everyone has his own life path. Everything in the universe is causality. Suffering, distressing, and enduring hardship is not entirely a bad thing. Buddha Sakyamuni often teaches us, suffering in the world and despised by common people are to offset the evil of the previous life, and one may enter the high-level life space in the afterlife. Jesus said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. But woe to you who are rich, for you have already received your comfort. Woe to you who are well-fed now, for you will go hungry. Woe to you who laugh now, for you will mourn and weep. Woe to you when all men speak well of you, for that is how their fathers treated the false prophets." Matthew 5 verses 1 to 10. He who is to be made to dwindle in power must first be caused to expand. He who is to be weakened must first be made strong. He who is to be laid low must first be exalted to power. He who is to be taken away from must first be given. Vice versa, he who is to be made to expand must first be caused to dwindle in power. He who is to be strong must first be made weak. He who is to be exalted to power must first be laid low. He who is to be given must first be taken away from. From the wisdoms and instructions of Christ Jesus, ancestor of Buddha Sakyamuni and ancestor of celestial Lao Tzu, we can understand. If the greatest Creator would love you, favor you, want to offer you eternal life, they will first make you locate under the condition of poverty, hardship, suffering, and torture. When heaven is about to place a great responsibility on a great man, it always first frustrates his spirit and will, exhausts his muscles and bones, exposes him to starvation and poverty, harasses him by troubles and setbacks so as to stimulate his spirit, toughen his nature, and enhance his abilities. If God is going to lead you to the high-level space, he must first make you suffer and confuse. Otherwise, people will be arrogant and selfish, will be out of all reason, and will refuse to accept any persuasion. Without all those suffering, you can never go to the thousand-year world. The future is so splendid and wonderful. Whatever the suffering and torture would be nothing for us. Therefore, we must understand the following. He who is aware of the male, but keeps to the female, he who is conscious of the white, bright, but keeps to the black, dark, he who is familiar with honor and glory, but keeps to obscurity. Only in this way, we can avoid being trapped in the worldly mire, being framed up, but one found it hard to vindicate oneself. Being misunderstood and framed up, one will feel more suffered than that of being openly hacked by knife and chopped by axe. He cannot divert himself from the inner anguish and bitterness. In most cases, this is the cause of human suicide. In this adverse situation, we cannot treat ourselves and the society with conventional thinking pattern. Complaining and calling for redress, blaming everyone and everything but oneself, being filled with indignation and being hostile to society can only speed up the collapse of one's own mind. We must understand, right and wrong should be left for God discerning. Merits and faults should be left for Tao assessing. Life and death, honor and disgrace should be temporarily given up. One should quietly wait for the good times of spring blossoms. One should firstly put oneself in a deserted island inwardly, seeing the Western world in cold detachment across the sea. At the same time, one should change this adversity into the turning point of life, work hard to explore the essence of life and human life and win over another way out. Unable to afford treatment when suffered from fatal illness. In such adversity, one should not lament his fate, nor should span 1,000 miles and waste time, effort, and money to look for panacea. Qin Shi Huang sent 3,000 young boys and girls to the so-called Penglai Island to seek the elixir. As a result, they disappeared without a trace. Emperor Li Shimin, from the Tang dynasty, the panacea made by Yuan Tiangang, who was a famous astrologer and Taoist, also failed to prolong his life. Let alone us, these poverty-stricken common people, we go out early and come back at dusk and live frugally throughout the year. We cannot afford any money to consume. Moreover, the present medical fee is so expensive, we cannot even afford it. However, what deserves us to feel sorry and pity are our beloved relatives, because they are the people who feel the real sadness and pains, not us, because they want to subsist, and there is still a long way ahead of them. So we must first take into consideration for our relatives and friends. Well, for ourselves, should we lose our spirit, wear a long face, be depressed and let it be? Surely not. The Bible says, "The mind of sinful man is death, but the mind controlled by the Spirit is life and peace." No one can be immortal, and death is not terrible. What terrifies us are the life of spiritual entity which will move towards the lower bound after the death of our flesh life. As we are faced with death and our time in the world is running out, we need put all our mind on the construction of our life of spiritual entity. In this way, our life of spiritual entity can be led to a better life space after we die. The real happy life is not being born in this world at all, and is to go directly to the high-level space U. In the second place, it is the people who die immediately after the birth. In the third place, it is the people who dies just after passing their childhood. The worst of life is the people who live confused and puzzled, and have to suffer at the age of 80. Because the earlier the death, the less the sin. The less the sin, the more chances to go to the high-level life space. How to build up a spiritual entity life. The most effective and simplest way is to enter life genuine and take the road of super time space. In this way, you can transcend the life and death, directly reach eternal. Not only that, your fatal illness may also disappear, and you may rejuvenate again. Therefore, with the fatal illness, one cannot afford the treatment, which may be a chance for one to understand life, to find new and good situation in the desperate life, to bloom again and change from sorrow to joy. Seizing this opportunity, as you suddenly become enlightened, you may laugh, ha ha ha, so that is what it is. 七顺应自然法则，不祈求特意。 7. Conforming to the laws of nature, not seeking for peculiarity. The so-called natural law refers to the law that exists within everything in the nature and which determines its own orderly operation and the development trend. For example, the movement of the solar system along the galaxy and the movement of the stars within the solar system are all natural laws. Comet appear in the visible space of the Earth every 76 is also a law, namely the natural law. The seasonal and climate change on the Earth follows the nature law. Plant germination, growth and flowering, and bearing fruits also complies the laws of nature. The birth, growth, aging, and death of the animals are the natural law. People eat and drink, pee and poo, work at daytime and rest at night are the reflection of natural law. Everything in the universe will live in accordance with the laws of nature and will die if violating the natural law. The Earth will turn into dust and ashes if flying out of the solar system. If a farmer sows in autumn, he will not have harvest. People will surely die if they don't eat, drink, pee and poo. This is the rule, and this is the law. One of the main reasons for people to get sick is due to the violation of laws of nature. The special events encountered in a person's life is also mainly due to the violation of the laws of nature. The best life is the life complies with the law of nature. One should not seek for exception and peculiarity. However, most people have the desire of seeking exception and being outstanding unconsciously. Some of them even try to control the forces of nature and have exceptional functions. If this kind desire is just kept in their mind, then it belongs to the normal phenomenon. However, if it is implemented in action, it belongs to the abnormal phenomenon. Abnormal phenomenon is against the law of nature, and it does more harm than good. It may distort the normal mental activities, affect the person's normal life. I talked about exceptional function many times, but my purpose is to show the thought of supertime and space can achieve a certain kind of state, and I did not encourage anyone give up basic self-improvement and to specialize in exceptional function. Being transcendent does not mean one has to have exceptional functions. Self-refinery and self-improvement is not for obtaining exceptional functions either. All the achievements and ways with the sole purpose to pursue the exceptional functions will lead people into the astray and evil path. After China's reform and opening up, there have been waves of activity concerning refinery and improvement which has its positive effect. But the negative effect is also there, for the key is against the law of nature. Therefore, though the people involved in the practice were millions upon millions, few has gained exceptional functions, even fewer understand the Tao. The ultimate goal of life should be positioned in pursuit of perfect human nature and the goal of how to extend life in a higher life space. Exceptional functions are merely helpless in reaching this goal. Anyone that wants to take the shortcut will eventually find that they are wasting time. Remember, more haste, less speed. We are human beings. So first we must behave according to the laws of nature, and we have to eat and drink, pee and poo, study, work and rest and have fun and go through the process of birth, death, illness, and old age. On this basis, we can realize transcending and realize our dreams. To achieve doctorate, one must first lay a good foundation from primary school, high school, college, and graduate student course. Success comes from hard work. So, first we must behave as an ordinary people, common and take back the messy and scattered and floated mind. Set your mind, find the direction, follow the nature, and you will succeed. Never and ever pursue exceptions, otherwise, you will be lost and caught by the devil. 热爱生命，热爱劳动. 8. Love life, love work. Life refers to the activity ability of an organism. The thinking ability, labor ability, and all other activities including talking, walking, eating, blinking, tickling are the expression of life forms. Life is 1 plus 1 is equal to 1. The first one refers to the physical flesh, and the other one refers to the spiritual entity. The combination of the two parts of flesh and spiritual entity constitute a complete life. Flesh without the spiritual entity is a dead body, and the spiritual entity without flesh cannot move in the three-dimensional space. Flesh is like a computer's hardware, and spiritual entity is like the computer's software. Without software, the best computer can be nothing but useless trash. Therefore, the flesh is the carrier, namely the vehicle of the spiritual entity, and the latter is the true essence of life. Our flesh is given by our parents, but our spiritual entity is given by the greatest creator. Therefore, love life is to protect our flesh, to show respect to our parents and love spiritual entity, to revere the greatest creator. Life is above everything. Love life is to respect parents and revere to the greatest creator. Persecuting life is to contempt to parents and is to fight against the greatest creator. Every life is equal. No one's life is nobler than another's life. So, no matter how many sufficient and noble reasons he has get, as long as he brings harm to his own life or others' life, then it is a sin. The people who love life must be the ones who love peace. Every war provoked for the interests of tribe, race, nationality, country, religion, political parties, no matter how noble the reason is to commit crime to human beings. No one has the right to harm other people's life. Death penalty is a kind of crime. Regardless of how heinous and unpardoned the prisoners are, as long as they are arrested and imprisoned and their freedom is confined and their rights of being an average person are deprived, that will be enough. No need to fight ruthless against ruthless and evil to evil. Abortion is not a crime. One cannot take for granted that the life is formed as soon as the eggs meet the sperm. The life of fetus is only formed 10 days or so in antenatal, and it starts when the spiritual entity from another space enters the fetus flesh through space tunnel by the anode black hole body. Before that, the fetus is just flesh with no spiritual entity. Its activity is the continuation of the maternal parent life. It lives when the parent body lives and dies when the parent body dies. This is like building a house. We lay the foundation, build walls and roofs, install doors and windows. Only when everything is ready and people move in, the house can become a home. We can't regard a deserted house as a home. We surely cannot take a building with only 4 walls and without windows or doors as a home. The first principle of loving life is to revere to the greatest creator, because the spiritual entity of life comes from the greatest creator, without which our life will be water without source and tree without root and will be withered at any time. The second principle of loving life is to respect our parents, because our flesh comes from our parents, without whom our life would be spirit that wandering in the other space and impossible to come to this world. In the man's world, we see many people take time and energies in the pursuit of money, fame, and let their parents pass their time lonely and desperately. We also find that a lot of people spend money to worship the gods and Buddha statue, and let their parents to live their last years of life in an isolated and helpless condition. We also know that there are other people burn incense and kneel down to the gods and Buddha from a long distance than to show care and concern by visiting their parents. Respecting your parents is to show gratitude, and to pay back the debts and to fulfill your wishes and to gain perfect human nature. But it is not the purpose of life. The third principle of loving life is to love work. Every activity that creates material and spiritual wealth by using the combination of mind and hands is called work. Material wealth refers to the material entity independent from the consciousness, visible, touchable, and useful. The spiritual wealth refers to something that can arouse and encourage in people's heart and spirit and can withstand the test of time and have impact on human beings, such as thoughts, philosophy, literature, painting, music, songs and dance, drama, movies, etc. Working is the noblest human activity to keep healthy in life, gain happiness, and survive in the world. All human achievements are the result of labor. Look down upon work or belittle the value of work is the symbol of lacking human nature and the philosophy of parasite's life. Work is mainly embodied in the activities of scientists, engineers and workers, farmers, writers, thinkers, artists, including lyric and music composer, television movie producer, etc. Trim a piece of lawn, boil a pot of cold water, make a dish, make a hairdo, design a style, sew a dress, remove a pile of junk, plant a potted flower, plant a tree, write a novel, cultivate a talented person, make a prescription, and deliver a baby, and others all belong to the category of work. Activities such as inviting guests and sending gifts, traveling for fun, keeping fit or exercising, eating, drinking, pulling, and peeing do not belong to the scope of work. Stealing and robbing, cheating and blackmailing, dividing the plunder and reaping the profits do not belong to the working category. In a society, only when the whole social society respects working, involves in working, it can be regarded as an ideal society full of human nature. Life is not classified as high or low, neither does labor. A society has no respect to working will inevitably become society of not knowing right or wrong, good or evil, with distorted human nature, and reverse society, a society of unfair, unreasonable, injustice, unhappiness. The society will be incentive to corruption, encourage laziness, creating evil, advocating buckish, will be a vicious cycle and bound to be ruined. Love work is love life. Despise work is to destroy life. Everything can be labeled with a price except life. Everything should be centered on life from career, freedom, prosperity, glory, peace to ideal. What is the purpose of all these without life? Although life is tenacious, it is very frail and delicate. We have to take care of it all the time and everywhere. We are not expecting life to bloom gorgeous flowers and bear bumper fruit. We only hope that our life is like stream, joyfully singing, running through the creeks, ravines, fields and valleys from the fountain of life, smoothly flow into the sea the arms of life without being dry up in the midway. Let's love life, eulogize life and praise life. Let the tree of life be green forever. Let's hope every life can safely reach the ideal land. The law of gravitation. Elementary self-improvement. Xiefeng. Up until now, we have come to understand the meaning of life and know that the ultimate goal of life is not to possess something in the human world, but to find a way to extend life to a higher space of existence. We have identified our position, understood what is inevitable, and what remains is the question of how to step-by-step move towards the goal, to reach the ideal other shore, where the spirit enters the thousand-year world and transforms into a celestial after the death of the body. We must practice self-improvement and self-cultivation. First is self-improvement. What is self-improvement? Self-improvement refers to recognizing, identifying, judging, and finding the best path. Practice means to adhere to and implement in daily life. Self-improvement is divided into 3 levels: elementary self-improvement, intermediate self-improvement, and advanced self-improvement. Elementary self-improvement. Elementary self-improvement mainly involves norms of daily behavior. These norms not only help us achieve a successful life in the secular society, leading us to health, wealth, and freedom, but also lay a solid foundation for intermediate self-improvement. If we can do this, there is no greater good. We know that our thinking, consciousness, and mind are connected with the negative universe, which contains positive spirits, evil spirits, kind spirits, and malevolent spirits. Whatever kind of thoughts we have, there will be spirits to match them. If we curse someone, that person will be unlucky. If we think of suicide, there will be corresponding spirits to encourage and help us commit suicide. Whatever we yearn for, it will come. Therefore, elementary self-improvement first requires us to clear our thoughts, especially to remove negative thoughts and establish normal, positive, active, happy, and desirable thoughts. The best method is to pray to the Lord, the greatest creator. Intermediate self-improvement. Xiefeng. Intermediate self-improvement builds upon the foundation of elementary self-improvement by worshiping the greatest creator, perceiving the Tao, recognizing Buddha, and creating a new life path. This process involves being free from the secular even while remaining in the secular world, being away from worldly affairs in your mind even when you must interact with them, remaining ordinary while transcending beyond the ordinary, and ultimately reaching a state of oblivion to both self and objects, living a life guided by visualization. Love and worship the greatest creator. Adhere strictly to the greatest creator's commandments and throughout life, love and worship only the true Lord, Buddha, the greatest creator. Do not worship deities, idols, or worldly great figures. The greatest creator is the creator of all things in the universe, the Lord of all gods in heaven, the cradle of life, the source of wisdom, the prime mover of the universe, and the energy center of the supermaterial world. The greatest creator possesses 8 major characteristics: uniqueness, formlessness, neutrality, mystery, impartiality, mercy, supreme power, and absolute wisdom. The greatest creator exists in the negative universe in the form of a spirit and maintains the orderly operation of the universe through the Tao. To transcend time and space and achieve eternity, the only path is to rely on Allah, the ancestor of Buddha, the greatest creator. The greatest creator is the master switch of energy. With a humble attitude, we must recognize, trust, follow, love, praise, and worship him with all our heart, mind, and soul. The key to worshiping the greatest creator is believing in Jesus. Jesus is the greatest creator's representative, spokesperson, son, and the one who carries out the greatest creator's mission. He came to the world not for his own glory, but to spread the greatest creator's gospel. If we respond with our hearts, we will know that Jesus is kind, honest, amiable, respectable, and reliable. What he says is the truth, and he is the gateway to higher life spaces. By believing in Jesus, we can attain long-lasting life and peace. Only by worshiping Allah, the ancestor of Buddha, the greatest creator, can we enter a unique spiritual and psychological state. Our efforts will not be in vain. We will have a strong support. So can we reach the ideal shore? Perceive, practice, and attain the Tao. The Tao is the force used by the greatest creator to maintain the orderly operation of the universe, referred to as the active force in the Bible. It is the law of the universe, the arbiter of cause and effect, an objective law that operates independently of human will. It is the bloodstream and life force of the universe. The Tao is omnipresent and ever-present. It exists in all things and runs through all movements. From the operation of celestial bodies to the movement of molecules, from the surging of rivers to the control of genes over organisms, everything is governed by the Tao. No person or thing, no action or movement can escape the constraints of the Tao. It is like the palm of the Tathagata Buddha, where even the mischievous monkey king cannot escape. Humans exist within the Tao. Sleeping when tired is the Tao. Eating when hungry is the Tao. If you resist by not sleeping or eating, you are going against the Tao, and the consequences are obvious. Similarly, stopping eating when full aligns with the Tao, while overeating does not. Sheep eating grass on the mountains is in line with the Tao, while humans eating grass is not. Pulling weeds from a field aligns with the Tao, but pulling weeds from the wild does not. Grass growing in the wild follows the Tao, but growing in a field does not. A man sleeping with his wife aligns with the Tao, while sleeping with someone else's wife does not. Having a relationship with a prostitute follows the Tao, while seducing a virtuous girl does not. Accumulating wealth by serving others follows the Tao, while accumulating wealth through robbery, theft, deceit, corruption, and bribery does not. As an official, managing in line with human nature follows the Tao, while managing against human nature does not. The Tao belongs to the negative universe. It is invisible, intangible, inaudible, and immeasurable, but exerts control over all things. The wise say, the gods are watching from 3 feet above. In fact, every blood cell contains a god, the Tao. Thus, you can deceive others, but not the god, the Tao. If you are hit by a car in Australia, do not be surprised. It might be because you killed a dog in China that should not have been killed. A sudden heart attack at 70 might result from an unethical act at 30. Disrespectful children might be due to insufficient filial piety towards your parents. Being deceived might be due to excessive selfishness and greed. When everything goes wrong, and you are exhausted and even suicidal, do not despair. It might be because a great responsibility is being placed on you. In short, every result has its cause. When quantitative changes reach a certain limit, qualitative changes occur. The saying, good deeds bring good results, bad deeds bring bad results, it's not that there's no retribution, but the time hasn't come. Once it comes, there will be retribution, reflects the Tao. The Tao is impartial. It will not help you because you are poor and pitiful, nor will it punish you because you are wealthy and powerful. The only criterion for reward or punishment is whether you follow or go against the Tao. Poverty without following the Tao will only worsen your situation, while wealth and strength with the Tao will bring more blessings. Conversely, poverty with adherence to the Tao will gradually lead to wealth and strength, while wealth and happiness against the Tao will lead to gradual poverty and frequent disasters. The Tao governs human destiny. Fate is predetermined, but fortune is changeable. Every word, action, movement, and thought affects fortune, all judged impartially and without omission by the Tao. All scientific endeavors are seeking the Tao. All axioms and theorems are the Tao. The Tao may seem ethereal, but it is a concrete reality. The Tao does nothing but leaves nothing undone. The Tao is neither virtual nor real, honest and incorruptible. The Tao objectively exists and cannot be added to or reduced. It cannot be bribed, twisted, deformed, compressed, or extended. The Tao is vast, complex, subtle, and fine, yet singular. It is vast because it encompasses everything, complex because it is unfathomable, subtle because it is precise, fine because it misses nothing, and singular because it is one. Perceiving the Tao requires knowledge and wisdom, self-improvement and practice, a calm mind, and transcendence of the mundane. Practice of the Tao means going with the flow, acting in accordance with the Tao, persisting and simplifying life. Attaining the Tao means entering the Tao, losing consciousness of self and thoughts of life and death, forgetting oneself and objects, uniting with the Tao, ending human life, starting celestial life, being able to move heaven and earth, knowing past and future, in short, becoming divine. Perceiving the Tao is easy. Practicing the Tao is hard. Practicing the Tao for 10 years will surely make you a celestial. Through meditation, deep thought, and unconventional thinking, earth-shattering realizations will lead you to the heavenly court. Reading Buddhist scriptures and perceiving Buddha nature. Christianity and Islam, along with their branches such as Judaism, Catholicism, Orthodoxy, and Protestantism, all originate from the same source, as can be understood from reading the Bible and the Quran. Buddhism, however, has a different origin. We know that other peoples were created by the greatest creator, whereas the people of the East are descendants of the dragon. This dragon came to Earth during the period when dinosaurs roamed freely. Later, the greatest creator destroyed the dinosaurs with a plague, sending all dinosaur spirits into the negative black hole body. However, a pair of dragons hid in a cave in the East China Sea and escaped this fate. These dragons, recognizing the greatest creator's power, did not dare to return to the heavenly kingdom or reappear on Earth in their dragon forms. Knowing what humans created by the god looked like, they transformed into human forms and began to spread westward from the Chinese coast along the Yellow River, after crossing the Pamir Plateau, eventually reaching India. Their aim was to blend with the descendants of humans created by the god to avoid divine punishment. They knew the god had created Eden for humanity, which was the Western paradise, but upon reaching India, they found that the god's descendants were everywhere, and that Jerusalem did not contain Eden. Eden had vanished, and the god's people were living in poverty and disease instead of the paradise God created for them, which prompted the dragon's descendants to seek new paths. The dragon's descendants who reached India who retained the spiritual genes of their origins know deeply their origin, especially Siddhartha Gautama, the most significant carrier of these genes. Through enlightenment, he realized the whole story. Knowing the severe consequences of defying the greatest creator's will, he sought the Tathagata, which represents the original, true Buddha nature and the origin of spirituality and life, which is the greatest creator. Seeking the Tathagata Buddha, or the greatest creator, aimed to atone for his sins and return to the heavenly homeland. Sakyamuni knew his ancestors' origins, so he initially focused his teachings eastward. Bodhidharma traveled a great distance to China to spread these teachings for this reason. Thus, Eastern people are descendants of the dragon, initially rebellious followers of Satan in the Buddha kingdom, but also the smartest and wisest followers of Buddha. They are the ones who ultimately repented, actively sought the Tathagata, and received the greatest creator's forgiveness. Buddha means someone who are not human, transcends being human. Buddha is nature. To become a Buddha, one must see through the illusion of life, consider everything as void, and view life as a dream. Through chanting scriptures and worshiping the Buddha, one cleanses past sins and removes human desires to restore original nature, the nature possessed in the Elysium world before the dragons came to Earth. Only by achieving this nature can one qualify to become a Buddha and return to the heavenly homeland, the Elysium world, the Pure Land, the eternal negative universe. Becoming a Buddha is far more challenging than becoming a true Christian or Muslim. Christianity and Islam teach people how to live in a way that meets the requirements of the greatest creator Allah, hoping to be resurrected when the greatest creator's kingdom arrives and enjoy its glory. Buddhism, on the other hand, teaches people not to cling to life and to transcend desire, form, and formless realms to return to their origin. To read Buddhist scriptures, one must start with the Diamond Sutra, as all other Buddhist scriptures take it as their core. Any scripture not based on the Diamond Sutra is not considered a true Buddhist scripture. Perceiving Buddha nature requires effort in one's own nature. The advanced self-cultivation of Life Genuine is dedicated to this purpose. Accept your fate, control your fortune, create your new destiny. Destiny is composed of fate and fortune. Fate is mainly determined by three factors: genetic information, the time of conception and birth, and the environment of conception and birth. Genetic information determines one's race, appearance, innate abilities, health conditions, etc. For instance, a person born as a Caucasian has an advantageous fate compared to one born as an African. Someone born with a healthy and well-formed body has a better fate than someone born with a deformed or unhealthy body. Innate intelligence provides a better fate compared to natural dullness. Though genetics relates to one's past life's karmic debts, the individual cannot decide but bear it. Genetics is not arranged by the greatest creator or any god, but by one's past self and ancestors. The time of birth determines one's heavenly stems and earthly branches, as well as the 5 elements. It predestines one's encounters, tribulations, and even the time of death, and it broadly establishes one's worldview. For instance, the worldview of someone born in a primitive era differs from that of someone born in a highly civilized era. Those born in wartime have different perspectives compared to those born in peacetime. Those born in times of material scarcity and epidemics differ from those born in times of abundance and scientific advancement. The environment of birth shapes one's temperament and life direction. Being born in a noble family differs from being born in a poor family. Being born in a scholarly family differs from being born in a laborer's home. Being born in a beautiful environment differs from being born in a harsh one. Being born in America differs from being born in Somalia in terms of temperament and life direction. Fortune is mainly determined by character, education, and upbringing, and the people one interacts with. Character dictates career. Every profession requires a personality suited to it. If one's character doesn't match their career, success is unlikely, indicating bad fortune. Conversely, when character aligns with one's profession, success is attainable regardless of faith or moral integrity. Imagine if Eisenhower were to become an educator or Pavlov were to lead soldiers into battle. If Nye Weiping were to become a rock singer or Cui Jian were to play Go, would they succeed? Reflecting on the early days of China's reform, when a portion of the population was allowed to become wealthy first, all the decent individuals were envious. They found that most of the people who became rich were those who were nebulous, not serious about their jobs, idling away in their workplaces, and seemingly without a future. They felt that those who make atomic bombs are not as good as those who sell tea eggs. Being an engineer is not as good as being a cobbler, and being a role model is not as good as messing around aimlessly. The reason lies in character. Those initially successful had personalities unsuitable for rigid, stagnant, and controlled state jobs. When the dynamic environment of the reform arrived, these individuals, who were long repressed, discriminated against, and neglected by society, found their fortunes aligning with their adventurous, adaptable natures, leading to success. If one's life is full of struggles and lacks achievement, it is not due to bad fate but an inability to find a career matching one's character, signifying poor fortune. Education and upbringing determine the depth and breadth of one's life. The quality of life, and the social strata one can reach. In a civilized society with complete moral and legal norms, the higher one's educational and familial background, the higher one's social status. Conversely, in a disorderly, chaotic, ignorant, and unhealthy society, this order might be reversed. Thus, one's fortune is determined by the level of education and cultural refinement received from society, school, and family. The people one interacts with determines their successes and failures. Helen Keller, suffering from the triple afflictions of blindness, deafness, and muteness, became a highly accomplished figure praised by the Encyclopedia Britannica due to her interaction with Miss Sullivan. Zhou Enlai became the long-standing second-in-command in China due to his association with Mao Zedong. Yu Fei's ambitions were unfulfilled due to his interactions with Zhao Guo and Qin Hui. Regular interactions with literary circles teach one to write. Associating with business people teaches one to earn money. Mingling with thieves teaches one to rob banks. Observing significant changes in oneself and others reveals that the key influencing factor is the people one associates with. Here, fortune depends on the types of individuals and groups one engages with. Fate is beyond individual control and can be considered as predetermined, whereas fortune is entirely within one's choice and control. Even with the best fate, poor fortune leads to an unfavorable destiny. Historically, many born into royalty ended tragically, not due to bad fate, but because their controllable fortune deviated from a good path. Conversely, those with poor fate but good fortune can achieve favorable outcomes despite being born in poverty-stricken, barren environments by effectively utilizing their fortune. The conclusion is, fate is predetermined, but fortune is created by oneself. Accepting fate and fortune passively is incorrect. Destiny is in one's own hands and can be recreated. In the intermediate self-improvement stage, everyone must start creating their new destiny. The methods are threefold. Choose a career that matches your personality. Your personality is your unique trait. Don't waste time trying to change it. If you're a wolf, seek meat. If you're a sheep, seek grass. If you're a bird, seek insects. If you're an earthworm, seek soil. Receive as much scientific, cultural, and civilized education as possible. Seek and associate with successful and virtuous individuals in various fields, as they will play a crucial role in rebuilding your destiny. 5. Respect and learn from science. Life Genuine is founded on the principles of science, encompassing superscience as well. Superscience and science are twin siblings, parallel and mutually dependent, interconnected, and complementary. Science is the systematic study reflecting the principles of Tao in the realms of the human body, nature, human society, and spiritual activities. Only through scientific understanding, attitudes, methods, and thinking can we grasp the concept of the negative universe and understand the greatest creator. Science is the only means to ultimately solve humanity's survival issues, leading humanity towards civilization, peace, prosperity, and flourishing, while eliminating barbarism, ignorance, disease, and ignorance. Without scientific development and achievements, today's Earth could not sustain such a vast population of 6 billion people, human lifespan could not be significantly extended, and we wouldn't have a clearer understanding of our universe and Earth. Therefore, long live science. To respect science, one must first have a correct understanding of it. Do not devalue science just because you possess some knowledge of superscience, much like a university professor should not look down on a high school teacher. Secondly, respect scientists and those who devote their lives to science. Engage with people in the scientific field, make friends with them, and support and protect scientists and scientific workers within your capabilities. At the same time, guard against pseudoscience, do not promote it, and avoid being deceived by it. It's also important to recognize the limitations of science. Science can only address issues within the material domain and cannot solve problems of the non-material realm in the 19th to 36th dimensional spaces. Relying solely on science cannot extend our lives into higher life spaces. Only superscience can ultimately help us transcend time and space to achieve eternity. 6. Self-rescue in life, spirit, and soul. Heaven helps those who help themselves. Laziness, passivity, idleness, and complacency are life's great enemies. These negative influences not only prevent us from achieving anything in the material world, but also render us helpless in the non-material world. First is self-rescue in life. Whether we are in bustling cities or remote villages, among family and friends or strangers, we must mentally place ourselves on a deserted island, not relying on deities or emperors, not waiting for windfalls, and not harboring any lucky illusions. Only by relying on ourselves can we solve problems of food, water, warmth, safety, and loneliness. This mindset maximizes our potential, attracts external help, and gains the support of benefactors and the protection of gods and Buddhas. Self-rescue in life relies not only on diligence but more importantly on intelligence. For instance, if you are a farmer with only a small piece of land, you can make ends meet in a good harvest year. But what if a disaster strikes? Have you considered planting medicinal herbs or other cash crops, or learning a craft in your spare time to increase your family income? If you are a laborer, forced to work more than 10 hours a day under high intensity, enduring the temper of your boss, and not getting your hard-earned money at the end of the year, why not muster the courage to start a small business or learn some carpentry or masonry skills? If you are a worker or a junior staff member, think about how much you earn in a year. Relying on that salary can only maintain a modest standard of living. What if there is any illness or disaster? When can you step onto the path of a comfortable and prosperous life? Why not attend a technical training class or start a small restaurant, tea shop, convenience store, or hair salon? If you are a technician, engineer, middle school teacher, senior staff member, secretary, translator, etc., and if your talents have not been utilized for a long time and you have been suppressed for a long time, why not change your work environment? When the east is not bright, the west is bright. When the south is dark, there is the north. There is always a way out, and there is no place on the ground where grass does not grow. Use your brain and see where your optimal coordinate system and coordinates are. The depth and breadth of life are boundless. Only those who rise up in adversity and step by step explore the depth and breadth of life are qualified to receive divine help, to enjoy life, to discuss life, to guide and criticize others, to see the essence through the phenomenon, to see the non-material through the material, to see the divine through the human, and to see the greatest creator through God. When you see the light of the greatest creator, you are qualified to obtain eternal life. Spiritual self-rescue. The term essence has two layers of meaning. The first refers to the nutrients that an organism obtains from food in order to maintain continuous movement. That is, after food enters the human body, apart from the part that is excreted, the rest is absorbed and digested by the organism, forming what is known as vital energy. The second is the subtle matter stored in the body for use by the living body to maintain movement. The term divine also has two meanings. One is the invisible and indescribable controlling force that coordinates the effective mutual assistance operation of various organs and parts of the living body, such as the force that allows the combination of sperm and egg to develop into a complete human body in the mother's womb. The second is the force of resonance of human thought and soul with the negative universe. It can also be understood that anything that is invisible, indescribable, inaudible, and untouchable, but has a real effect on you, is divine. This refers to the narrow sense of divine. The spirit is the combination of essence and divine, the pillar of the living body, and the bridge and junction of the mutual connection and interaction between material and non-material. Without spirit, people will perish. Not only the body will perish, but also the family and the career they are engaged in will decline. People with spirit can suppress all evils. Not only are they not infected with diseases, but they are also not approached by evil spirits, and they can absorb the essence of the sun and the moon and the aura of heaven and earth. To be strong, you must first have spirit, and to have spirit, you must first learn to keep in good health. Truck drivers know that if a truck is maintained in time, effectively, frequently changing air filters, oil filters, the gap of spark plugs is just right, the size of piston rings is suitable, the cylinder body is not scuffed, the gas door does not leak, the sealing ring, The ceiling pad seals well, the transmission part is well lubricated, the cooling system is not blocked, the ignition is on time, then this truck is powerful. Even if it is fully loaded with goods, climbing steep slopes is no problem. It can be said that this car has spirit. On the contrary, it will slip and even retreat, and there is no spirit. Similarly, if people keep in good health, they will have strength, spirit, vitality, creativity, and rich imagination. Health preservation mainly nourishes essence, energy, spirit, and form. One of the main purposes of health preservation is to cultivate spirit. Spirit cannot be borrowed, cannot be stolen. It can only rely on self-rescue. Soul, heart, and spirit, self-rescue. Here, the heart specifically refers to the part of the heart function that leads a person's thoughts, consciousness, and mental activities. Spirit refers to spirituality, wisdom information wave, which is not affected by material and space-time, comes from the negative universe, never strays from truth, goodness, and beauty, and only acts on the heart. The soul is a heart with spirituality. When a person's heart yearns for truth, goodness, and beauty, the heart and spirit can immediately resonate. This longing, if sustained, can cultivate a perfect soul. Such a soul enables your thoughts and consciousness to communicate with the negative universe, creating a unity where you become the universe and the universe becomes you. In this state, divine light is always present, symbolizing the unity and response between heaven and man. This allows you to harness the energy of the negative universe, and you will be blessed by gods and Buddhas everywhere. Your desires and wishes can be quickly fulfilled, your thoughts can become reality, and your visualizations can be actualized. In this state, what you can accomplish in 2 hours of quiet sitting could surpass what an ordinary person might achieve in 20 years of hard work. When a person's thinking and consciousness deviate from truth, goodness, and beauty, the spirit wave will be cut off immediately. At this point, only the heart exists without the spirit. A heart devoid of spirit can only cycle endlessly within the confines of the material world and three-dimensional space. Such a person, except for the human appearance and some other characteristics, is almost no different from animals, and his soul will definitely go to the animal level in the next life. Soul self-rescue means that no matter what kind of adverse and unfortunate circumstances you are in, you must yearn for truth, goodness, and beauty, and you must act and behave based on the principles of truth, goodness, and beauty. When people around you are muddling through, you must practice soul self-rescue. When everyone is fighting and scrambling, indulging in pleasures, you must practice soul self-rescue. When people are indifferent and drifting with the wind, you must practice soul self-rescue. When people are fanatic about a certain political movement or religious superstition, you must practice soul self-rescue. When people bully, oppress, deceive, extort, ridicule, and mock you, you must practice soul self-rescue. When you encounter difficulties in life and troubles at work, you must practice soul self-rescue. When you are suffering from stubborn diseases, or on the verge of bankruptcy, or isolated and helpless, you must practice soul self-rescue. As long as you learn to practice soul self-rescue, the gods and Buddha will help you break through the predicament, and miracles will definitely happen. 7. Embrace the mundane and transcend it. Mundane refers to phenomena that are widely accepted and prevalent in society. It has the following implications. Popularization. It is generally believed that people should pursue and possess the following: fame, honor, ranking, status, prestigious families, moral integrity, celebrities, brands, business cards, scholars, experts, prestige, positions of power, benefits, profits, interest, money, treasures, property, wealth, financial power, influence, real estate, rights, social status, identity, good people, virtuous people, role models, examples, heroes, beauties, family, and the 7 emotions and 6 desires, etc. Trends. Items or behaviors that are popular in a certain period or region and involve most people. These include interior decoration, wearing brand names, seeking prestige, hosting banquets at upscale restaurants, wearing gold and silver, dyeing hair, eyebrow shaping, lip lining, singing pop songs, speaking fashionable phrases, blindly following trends like qigong, etc. The psychological activities and behaviors of pursuing whatever is trendy, following whatever is advocated, and gravitating towards the guidance of public opinion all fall within the scope of trends. Traditional practices. Cultural practices passed down through history and accepted by people, such as various celebrations, memorial ceremonies, holidays, etiquettes, ribbon cutting, birthday and housewarming congratulations, reciprocity, establishing chastity arches, hosting banquets, burning incense, kowtowing, repaying kindness, avenging grievances, etc. Uniformity. A single mode formed by unified norms or moral concepts dictated by a center of power in the ideological field, such as unified beliefs, thoughts, culture, traditions, customs, fashion, historical practices in China like men wearing queues and women binding feet, wearing zhongshan suits, 8-hour workdays, pushing down walls collectively, overthrowing certain figures, shouting slogans in unison, etc. Habituation. Practices commonly accepted as norms, such as having 3 meals a day, offering cigarettes to guests, kowtowing when worshiping Buddha, men marrying when grown, women marrying when of age, seeking doctors when ill, apprenticing under a master for knowledge, etc. Fixed patterns. The epistemology and methodology of life and the universe, shaped by conventional knowledge. Examples include learning should be progressive. Seeking knowledge requires logical thinking without imaginative ideas or reversing established practices. Raising children to secure old age. Accepting fate for life and death. Wealth is determined by destiny. Scholars accepting poverty, learning to become sages. Officials maintaining loyalty to the state, etc. Secularization. This refers to an attitude devoid of justice and aesthetics, displayed for personal gain. For example, fawning over the rich, avoiding the poor, endless admiration for the wealthy, full of praise, wagging tails, showing a haughty and contemptuous attitude towards the poor, indifferent, showing respect to those who get out of high-end cars, full of smiles, sneering at those who drive cattle carts, coldly indifferent. Vulgarization. Mediocre and vulgar, not very noble behavior. For example, quoting classics whenever opening the mouth, saying, "I've heard so much about you." When meeting celebrities, overly humble, deliberately mysterious, using professional vocabulary that is not easy for ordinary people to understand in order to show off one's knowledge, all flattering smiles, flattering words, humble postures, unnatural, uncoordinated dress, and so on. To embrace mundane is to regard the above vulgarities as normal phenomena, human nature, not to interfere, not to correct, let them breed and spread, emerge of itself and perish of itself. The people of the secular society live for these things, their daily hustle and bustle. A lifetime of hard pursuit is for this. Their value and meaning of life are measured by these worldly standards. Their pain is in it, and happiness and joy are also in it. To transcend mundane is to look down on the world from the height of a celestial, just like a person observing the activities of ants. To transcend mundane is to gradually distance oneself from worldly people and things, gradually get rid of the entanglement of worldly affairs. To transcend mundane is to stand in the position of Buddha, to see through the red dust, to see through life. To transcend mundane is to stand in the eternal space-time, to look at the changes in the instantaneous space-time. To get rid of a bit of vulgarity is to add a bit of chic. To reduce a bit of vulgarity is to add a bit of elegance. To reduce a bit of human heart is to add a bit of Buddha nature. Less worldly affairs add more leisure. One step away from the worldly world is one step closer to the fairyland. Once you are completely unworldly, you will become a celestial being. To be unworldly requires great wisdom and long-term practice. Fruits fall off when ripe. When water flows, a channel is formed. When the work is done, it will naturally succeed. If you force yourself to be unworldly or deliberately pretend to be unworldly, not only will you not be unworldly, but you will be more worldly. If you have the opportunity to climb a mountain once, to appreciate the infinite scenery of nature, or to go to the vast desert to feel the vastness of the world, or to go to the Gobi, the grassland to enjoy the vastness of the world, or to go to the dense forest to experience the mystery and greatness of nature, you will understand the heroic feelings of being free from worldly troubles. If you have the opportunity to listen to a few more concerts or cultivate your habit of appreciating music over time, it can also help you transcend the worldly. If you have the chance to spend some time with high monks in temples, high masters in Taoist temples, hermits in mountains and fields, real musicians, literary masters, scientists, you can also get the feeling of being unworldly. The fragrance of books can also drive away vulgarity. 8. Engaging and disengaging with the world. Engaging with the world means immersing oneself in human society, deeply experiencing the daily life, tasting the various flavors of life, and feeling the intense emotions of love, hate, separation, and reunion. It involves enduring the torments of hope, desire, disappointment, and despair, the joy of success and acquisition, the humiliation and grief of being deceived, bullied, intimidated, exploited, enslaved, ruined, ridiculed, insulted, and beaten. It means enduring the agony of failure, bankruptcy, and desperate situations, the confusion of unclear direction and uncertain future, the anxiety of being debt-ridden and harassed by creditors, the frustration of being cheated in love, having money stolen, being betrayed by comrades or colleagues, and the resentment when good intentions are met with malice. It involves enduring the pain of chronic illness with no cure in sight, the frustration of being misunderstood and unfairly treated, the reflections on life when besieged by demands, critiques, extortion, kidnapping, and threats to safety after achieving fame, establishing a family, or acquiring wealth. It means feeling the sorrow of depending on others when destitute, the loneliness of being far from home and unable to visit family, and the bitterness of old age without filial piety from children. Engaging with the world means dealing with one's numerous mundane affairs from a materialistic perspective, standing on the foundation of science, reflecting upon human history, and adhering to all moral norms of human civilization. It involves understanding humans and human society and experiencing the journey of birth, aging, sickness, and death that every human must go through. Disengaging from the world means placing oneself in a state as if one has already passed away, observing the material world and human society, regardless of whether one is in favorable or adverse circumstances, regardless of how many people love you or hate you, regardless of how many people depend on you for survival or wish to see you perish, regardless of whether you perceive yourself as great and important or insignificant and trivial, regardless of whether you possess wealth spanning generations or have nothing at all. As long as you envision yourself as a soul that has already departed, you can disengage from the world, achieve transcendence, avoid being stuck in a rut, and see through the illusions of the mortal world, rising above the mundane. Disengaging from the world means not indulging in the material and spiritual pursuits of the human world. It involves viewing the human realm from the perspective of celestials and Buddhas, handling daily life from a non-material and anti-scientific standpoint, perceiving a millennium as a fleeting moment, and treating your ephemeral life with the vision of the negative universe. It means adhering to the moral laws of the heavenly kingdom, denying the value of the human life, and merging oneself into the infinite expanse of time and space and the universe. Furthermore, disengaging from the world means constantly contemplating how to become a celestial or a Buddha, how to serve as a servant of Allah, the ancestor of Buddha, the greatest creator. It involves pondering the destination of your soul after the death of the physical body and how to transform your transient, tangible life into an eternal, intangible existence. Finally, disengaging from the world means emulating figures like Laozi, who abandoned his homeland, riding a green ox out of Hangu Pass, like Shakyamuni, who left behind his wife and son to seek the true self and the truth of the universe, like Jesus, who refused to be a worldly king and chose to be crucified. To disengage from the world, you must first engage with it. Without experiencing the hardships of the human world, You cannot understand the heavens beyond. You cannot attain great wisdom. You cannot find the truth. You cannot comprehend the teachings of life genuine. A song aptly expresses this relationship. The little monk goes down the mountain to beg for alms. The old monk instructs again. The women out of the mountains are tigers. Quickly avoid them if encountering them. The old monk, having experienced the joys and sorrows of worldly relationships, likens women to man-eating tigers, knowing that attachment hinders the path to Buddhahood. But to the young monk, who has yet to engage with the world, the women seem charming and not like tigers at all. Despite repeated warnings, the tiger enters his heart, making it difficult to focus on his spiritual practice. Without engaging with the world, disengaging becomes difficult, unless you are born with Dharma eyes and Buddha eyes. Without engaging with the world, trying to disengage is like climbing without a ladder. Without refining, pure gold cannot be obtained. Without polishing, even the finest gem remains a raw stone. Engaging first and then disengaging is a shortcut. Attempting to disengage without engaging is a long journey. Only by enduring all 81 tribulations can you obtain the true scriptures. Anyone wishing to enter life genuine should not avoid worldly hardships, rush to retreat into the mountains, become a monk, or fear life's difficulties, honors, and insults. Calamity is blessing, blessing is calamity. Having is not having is having. The way of heaven is fair. As long as you steadfastly live in life genuine, you will eventually reach your ideal destination. 9. Embracing the ordinary and transcending the ordinary. Ordinary refers to the common, conventional, usual, normal, bland, mundane, and mediocre aspects of life. Examples include ordinary families, conventional thinking, usual attitudes, normal emotions, bland diets, mundane lives, mediocre lifestyles. To embrace the ordinary means to live a normal, unremarkable life with the mindset of an ordinary person, following conventional thoughts without seeking to stand out, be exceptional, or experience dramatic ups and downs. The ordinary is characterized by being small, insignificant, habitual, natural, and peaceful. Transcending the ordinary involves potential and superpowers hidden within the ordinary. It is resilience, fearlessness, and actions and thoughts that are not bound by established rules, traditions, or forms. It is free from worldly limitations. Though they may seem mediocre on the surface, these qualities conceal exceptional strength, spirit, and divine power. For example, consider the grass growing by the roadside, in rock crevices, or on the Gobi Desert. At first glance, it appears so delicate, insignificant, and easily uprooted. However, as long as there is an adequate amount of moisture and its roots are still anchored in the soil, it remains resilient. Despite the harsh summer heat, the freezing cold, the scorching sun, the wind and rain, being trampled by humans and animals, or being eaten by sheep and insects, it remains unyielding and grows fearlessly. Behind its seemingly weak and ordinary exterior, there lies an extraordinary energy that is invincible. People who have been leaders or bosses know that there are some subordinates who may seem ordinary, incapable, insignificant, and unnoticed. Yet, they possess an extraordinary quality. When your demands or orders are unreasonable, they simply will not obey you, and there's nothing you can do about it. These individuals neither create chaos nor deviate from the norm. You cannot crush them with power, you cannot sway them with money, and threats or enticements are of no avail against them. Even if a knife is held to their neck, they will not yield. They may appear weak and unable to withstand any blows, but in reality, they are like a mountain, immovable. You may destroy their physical body, but you cannot harm their spirit and soul in the slightest. They will not harm you, but if you attempt to harm them, you will ultimately end up hurting yourself, ending in utter defeat. This extraordinary energy is invisible and intangible, but the moment you touch it, you will feel its presence, and it will either instill fear or provide a sense of reliability and assurance. Extraordinary people may appear mediocre, but they are in fact close to divine beings. They may seem dull, but they actually possess high wisdom. At first glance, they might look like ordinary stones, but they are indeed precious gems. They may appear weak, but they are incredibly strong. They live in harmony with the world, not rushing for success, and they don't stand out because they embody the extraordinary within the ordinary. To transcend the ordinary, one must first embrace it. One must practice self-improvement and self-cultivation. One must adopt unconventional thinking and take unconventional actions. In the eyes of extraordinary people, what is considered normal is abnormal, and what is abnormal is normal. What is ordinary is extraordinary, and what is extraordinary is ordinary. For example, if someone insults you and you get angry or even retaliate, that is considered normal. But in the eyes of extraordinary people, this is abnormal. If you do not get angry, but instead remain calm and indifferent, laughing it off, that is considered normal. Furthermore, those who strive every second, fight for every bit of profit, rack their brains, exhaust their energy throughout their lives, and finally achieve fame, establish themselves as professionals, build immortal merits, or leave a name in history, are considered extraordinary and worthy of respect and praise in the eyes of ordinary people. They are seen as role models worth learning from. However, in the eyes of extraordinary people, they are fools, thoroughly mundane people. Those who live a plain life, work at sunrise, rest at sunset, have no desire for fame and fortune, and enjoy life at all times, are the smart ones, the extraordinary ones. Extraordinary people, although physically living in the human world and leading ordinary lives every day, their souls have essentially transcended the mundane, and their mindset has reached a celestial state. If you are fortunate enough to meet an extraordinary person who has transcended the mundane, even if you just have a cup of tea with them or play a game of chess, even though it may not enable you to transcend the mundane and reach the thousand-year world, you can at least enjoy the elegance of transcending the ordinary and the charm of being free from vulgarity. 10. Valuing visualization. Visualization refers to a vivid, future-oriented image that forms in one's mind through unconscious mental activities, where you can envision yourself being part of that future scenario. Visualization belongs to the phenomenon of the negative universe, but after a few years or decades, when you find yourself in that scenario, the image becomes a reality in the material world. We can also say that visualization is an imagined illusion, but surprisingly, this illusion will materialize in the real world in the near future, becoming a real environment. Here are two examples. In 1980, when I was studying at the Zhangjiago Geological Technical School in Hebei, one Sunday evening, I sat by the railway tracks behind the school, looking at the smoking village. Suddenly, I envisioned a scene where I was teaching at a high school not far from a small town. The school had assigned me a two-room house with a fenced yard where I had grown vegetables like eggplants, tomatoes, cucumbers, beans, and peppers, and raised a few chickens. This vision appeared only once and then disappeared. I didn't dwell on it, but 8 years later, in 1988, one day while watering the vegetables in the backyard of my house at the number 2 middle school, 3 kilometers away from the Pinjiwanbo town in Zhangya, Gansu province, I suddenly recalled the vision from that evening in Zhangjiago. Upon comparison, the imagined scenario and the reality matched almost perfectly, as I was also raising a few chickens and had a fenced yard. In the rainy season of 1996, while I was having tea with the manager of the Gansu International Zimbabwe branch on the green lawn chairs by the swimming pool of Villa 48 in Harare, at that time, a black gardener named Jack was tidying up the garden nearby. He said, "It's strange. 8 years ago, when I was a teacher at a normal school, one day I imagined this scene. I had a villa in some African country with green lawns and a swimming pool. After swimming, I sat under a sun umbrella, and a black servant in a white coat served me tea. Isn't today's scene exactly like my imagination?" My reaction was one of astonishment. Recalling my own fulfilled mental imagery, I realized that such phenomena are not accidental. I thought back to when I was 7 or 8 years old, enjoying standing at the edge of the fields at dusk, watching the beautiful sunset and imagining traveling to the farthest place where the sun sets. A place of perpetual spring, bird songs, and flowers, like a fairyland. 30 years later, I indeed came to Zimbabwe, the farthest west from my hometown, Yongjing County by the Yellow River. I've lived in a villa for several years, with green lawns in the front and back, and every morning I can see and hear a variety of birds catching insects and singing in the yard. The environment here is beautiful, the climate pleasant, with flowers blooming all year round. At Forest Road 10, where I lived, the yard had 64 different tree species, clearly turning my imagination into reality. Another example is when my child was in junior high, I told him to often consciously and unconsciously visualize himself attending university in the United States. 6 years later, he indeed got admitted to a university in the US with excellent grades. The transition from unconscious to conscious visualization was facilitated by the Bible. One early morning in 1996, while driving from Harare to Mutare at 3:30 a.m., I fell asleep at the wheel while driving at a speed of 165 kilometers per hour. When I woke up, I found that the car had collided with a large concrete milestone. The car was damaged, but I was unscathed. Miraculously, if the point of impact on the stone had been just a foot forward or backward, the car would have rolled down the slope, leading to dire consequences. My first thought was, God saved me. 3 days later, a kindly old couple, Jehovah's Witnesses, came to see me, saying they wanted to discuss the Bible with me. I welcomed them without hesitation. This marked the beginning of over 4 years of Bible study. As my studies deepened, unconscious mental images continued to emerge, depicting scenes from the 36-dimensional spaces, the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, the Earth universe, the negative universe, the workings of the Tao, the origins of Buddha, the times of Adam and Eve, the dinosaur era, Noah's era, and future times. It seemed as if time and space had disappeared, no longer existing. During the Christmas season of 2000, I arrived at the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa. Gazing at the vast blue horizon, I conceived the idea of life genuine. Visualization is not about fantasies, daydreams, or delusions. It is a realistic mental image that emerges naturally when you are in a serene, harmonious atmosphere, free from material desires. This mental image appears in a state of forgetting oneself and the surroundings. It will not appear when you are busy, worried, tired, or full of desires. Visualization may seem like an illusion, but it is a real scene that transcends time and space. With increased self-improvement and self-cultivation, it will undoubtedly appear in your mind. Once it does, it becomes your future, no matter how much you strive or struggle. The negative universe will inevitably lead you to the place in your visualization. 11. Becoming unconscious of the boundary between oneself and the external world. The term external world refers to the material world, while oneself refers to self-consciousness. Becoming unconscious of the boundary between oneself and the external world is a high-level spiritual state or an actual celestial realm that those with great wisdom and insight can reach. This state has 3 levels. Completion of intermediate self-improvement. At this level, one has understood the 36 dimensions of space and gained knowledge about the mutual dynamics of the positive and negative universes. One has understood the meaning, purpose, and value of life, recognizing that human life is just a phase in the transformation of the spiritual body. It becomes clear that all material pursuits are not only futile but also harmful. The source of all human suffering comes from self-consciousness. Desires, needs, and pursuits of the self, as well as the self's criteria for judging right or wrong, all lead to sadness, depression, heartbreak, anxiety, fear, misfortune, trouble, and pain. Only by letting go of material things, abandoning self-consciousness, and living in accordance with nature can one achieve the best life. Recognition of the material world. One realizes and sees that the entire material world is just an illusion or a facade of the non-material world. Life is but a fleeting moment. Though it has its beautiful aspects, it is ultimately too short. Striving and seeking material gains in this brief moment is utterly foolish. Undoubtedly, the final outcome of all possessions is having nothing. Only by completely abandoning the concept of materiality can one avoid being confused and bound by the surface phenomena of the material world. Only by forgetting the self can one follow the Tao, transcend time and space, unite with the Tao, achieve a celestial spiritual body, and enter eternal time and space. Understanding life's multilayered forms. One knows that the forms of life are multilayered. The visible forms perceived by humans are temporary, whereas the invisible forms are permanent. What humans consider illusory is actually real, and what they consider real is actually illusory. Viewing from different spatial dimensions reveals different forms of life. Only by using the thinking of gods and Buddhas, becoming unconscious of the boundary between oneself and the external world, and adopting unconventional thinking can one elevate life to a higher form. Becoming unconscious of the boundary between oneself and the external world is the highest level of intermediate self-improvement and the lowest level of advanced self-improvement. How to verify if one has reached the state of becoming unconscious of the boundary between oneself and the external world? When frequent wars and human suffering on earth do not affect you. When the death of a loved one brings no sadness. When losing all your possessions and facing bankruptcy leaves you unfazed. And when facing death brings no fear, you have reached the state of becoming unconscious of the boundary between oneself and the external world. At this point, you have little humanity left. When you feel completely comfortable, your mind extremely relaxed, flying through celestial realms you have never visited. When you don't know where you came from and have forgotten your past, even seeing your parents doesn't overly excite you. When you see no hunger, poverty or wealth, nobility or lowliness, disease, death, or private property. When you don't understand concepts like possession, construction, destruction, truth, beauty, goodness, falsehood, evil, ugliness, dignity, or safety, and can't distinguish between you, me, and them, and everything seems so beautiful, wonderful, unrestricted, and exhilarating. When you no longer feel the existence of time, with no distinction between day and night, you have reached the state of becoming unconscious of the boundary between oneself and the external world. In reality, your physical body has died, and you have arrived in the 1,000-year world or the 10,000-year world. At the point of becoming unconscious of the boundary between oneself and the external world, you have attained the nature of Buddha. The Cultivation chapter. Xiefeng. Cultivation refers to recognition, exploration, and judgment, finding the correct methods and paths. Practice refers to selection, restraint, and persistence, restraining one's emotions and desires, adhering to what is right, and giving up what is wrong. The journey to transcending time and space of life genuine is divided into 3 levels of self-cultivation: elementary, intermediate, and advanced. Elementary cultivation. The purpose is to cultivate cognition by seeing through life, to discard illusions, return to simplicity and truth, develop human nature, sort out the chaos, find the way out of complexity, see the constant in the impermanent, and gradually transition from the muddled and chaotic ordinary life to the clear and distinct life of the virtuous, and thus achieve a state of individual health, wealth, and freedom. The elementary stage of cultivation also needs to do your best to complete your duty, laying the foundation for the intermediate stage of cultivation, which is to be free from cares and worries. Intermediate cultivation. The purpose is to cultivate the heart through calming the mind, stopping the mind, governing the mind, rectifying the mind, being humble, stabilizing the mind, purifying the mind, ending the worries of the heart, dispelling the heavy fog that shrouds the mind, making the mind transparent and clean, achieving the goal of transcending the secular, leaving the world, ending the worries of the heart, and being extraordinary, and laying the foundation for the advanced stage of cultivation, which is to cultivate nature. Advanced cultivation. The purpose is to cultivate nature through unconventional thinking, wild imagination, doing the opposite, denying life, and thus achieving the goal of walking with angels, celestials, and Buddhas, and entering the celestial realm. Nature refers to the original characteristics of the gene structure of humans designed by the greatest creator, which is called the root of wisdom in Buddhism, and the spirit and spirituality in the language of celestials. This nature is absolutely pure, without impurities. If this spirituality can be maintained, people will not get sick or die, and can live forever. However, due to the imperfect technology of the angels when they created according to the greatest creator's blueprint, a part of the impurities was mixed into human nature, leading to the imperfection of human beings. The less perfect human nature is, the more it develops towards the lower life space, and the more perfect human nature is, the more it develops towards the higher life space. Cultivating nature is to gradually remove the impurities mixed in the original nature through cultivation and restore the original characteristics given by the greatest creator. Before cultivation, I have excerpted some content from the Bible, Quran, Diamond Sutra, and Tao Te Ching to enlighten our wisdom and lay the psychological foundation for cultivation. Clouds rise and rain falls without intention. Clear wind and bright moon reveal the mystery. Look at the 100-foot tree reaching the sky. Bit by bit, it grows upward, referring to energy. Calm your mind and think carefully. In an instant, you can travel 100,000 miles. After 10 years of cultivation without enlightenment, once enlightened, you reach the jade pool. Excerpts from the Bible. God looks down from heaven on all mankind to see if there are any who understand, any who seek God. Psalm 53 verse 2. The mind governed by the flesh is death, but the mind governed by the Spirit is life and peace. Romans 8 verse 6. For physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise for both the present life and the life to come. 1 Timothy 4 verse 8. Do not fret because of those who are evil, or be envious of those who do wrong. For like the grass they will soon wither, like green plants they will soon die away. Psalm 37 verses 1 to 2. Excerpts from the Quran. You see the mountains and think them firmly fixed, but they shall pass away as the clouds pass away. Such is the artistry of God, who disposes of all things in perfect order, for he is well acquainted with all that you do. Surah 20, 27:88. Whoever desires the harvest of the hereafter, we increase for him in his harvest. And whoever desires the harvest of this world, we give him thereof, but there is not for him in the hereafter any share. Surah 25, 42:20. On the day when men will be like scattered moths, and the mountains will be like carded wool, then he whose balance of good deeds will be found heavy will be in a life of good pleasure and satisfaction. But he whose balance of good deeds will be found light will have his home in a bottomless pit. Surah 30, 101:4-9. O assembly of jinn and men, if you can pass beyond the zones of the heavens and the earth, pass ye. Not without authority shall ye be able to pass. Surah 27, 55:33. Excerpts from the Diamond Sutra. What is called Buddha Dharma is not Buddha Dharma. One should produce a pure mind, not dwelling on form, not dwelling on sound, smell, taste, touch, or dharma. One should produce a mind that does not dwell anywhere. Leaving all phenomena is called all Buddhas. The Tathagata's attainment of the Dharma is neither real nor unreal. The Diamond Sutra has inconceivable, immeasurable, boundless merits. If one is despised by others, it is due to one's past sins, which should lead to the evil path. Because one is despised in this life, the sins of the past life are eliminated, and one should attain Anattara Samyak Sambodhi, the highest, most enlightened, and most wise. All dharmas are Buddha Dharma. If a person says that the Tathagata has a dharma to speak, He slanders the Buddha and cannot understand what I say. By cultivating all good dharmas without self, person, sentient beings, or lifespan, one can attain the highest, most enlightened, and most wise. If one sees me by form, seeks me by sound, this person practices the wrong path and cannot see the Tathagata. Translation: those who have achieved the highest, most enlightened, and most wise cannot maintain the appearance of emptiness. Translation: to reach a state without a competitive heart, a fighting heart, this is the highest state of man, the arhat beyond the highest state of the desire realm. All conditioned dharmas are like dreams, illusions, bubbles, shadows, like dewdrops and a lightning flash. Contemplate them thus. Excerpts from the Tao Te Ching. Act without action, and there is nothing that is not governed. Put others before yourself, and you will be ahead. Put others outside yourself, and you will be preserved. The form of formlessness, the image of nothingness, this is called haziness. Meet it, and you will not see its head. Follow it, and you will not see its tail. There are things mixed together, born before heaven and earth, silent and void, standing alone without change, circulating without fail. It can be regarded as the mother of the world. I do not know its name, so I call it Tao, and I name it as great. Only those who do not contend, thus no one in the world can contend with them. Although there are glorious views, they dwell in transcendence. Good actions leave no trace, good words have no flaws, good calculations do not use counters, good closures have no key and cannot be opened, good knots have no rope and cannot be untied. Those who act will fail, those who hold will lose. Hold the great image, and the world will come. The Tao is always non-active, yet there is nothing it does not do. All things in the world are born of being, and being is born of non-being. The bright Tao seems dim, the advancing Tao seems to retreat, the smooth Tao seems rugged. The greatest straightness seems crooked, the greatest skill seems clumsy, the greatest eloquence seems tongue-tied. The greatest square has no corners, the greatest vessel is late in completion, the greatest sound has rare notes, the greatest image has no form, the Tao is hidden and has no name. The great Tao is very level, but people like to take shortcuts. Disaster is what fortune depends upon. Fortune is where disaster subdues. A tree as big as a man's embrace grows from a tiny sprout. A tower 9 stories high begins with a heap of earth. A journey of 1,000 miles starts under one's feet. The way of heaven has no favorites, it is always with the good man. The way of heaven benefits and does not harm. The way of the sage is to act but not to contend. Above, it associates with the Creator, and below, it associates with those who are outside life and death and have no beginning or end. Zhuangzi. Words of Xiefeng. All non-active laws, there is no way to explain them. Coming like thunder and lightning, leaving like a dream. No emptiness, no reality, no sound, no silence, no boundaries, no limits, no moves, no postures. Invisible, untouchable, powerful. Cannot be stolen, cannot be hidden, unpredictable. Everything is it, yet it is not everything. Comply with it. Everything goes smoothly, peace for 10,000 years. Resist it, full of bumps, disaster extends to descendants. Elementary cultivation. Xiefeng. Natural non-action. Deal with the complex and ever-changing social affairs and personal life with the Taoist heart, Buddhist heart, and Christ heart. As long as you act naturally and without effort, there will be no obstacles, no stagnation. Whether it's moving forward, stopping, retreating, or taking a detour, it all depends on the various factors of the environment at that time and place. Do not force or go against the flow. Always maintain harmony and good relations with society, the masses, friends, and family, and nature. Because of non-action, you do not pursue anything, do not want to get anything. So there is no suffering, no trouble. You act accordingly, stop accordingly, create accordingly, and roam freely, showing a quality that is transcendent of the material world, yet does everything. If the masses need you to be the president, you will be the president. If society needs you to be a cleaner, you will be a cleaner. If you can become a billionaire, you will not refuse. If you are a farmer, you will willingly accept it. If your spouse wants to divorce, let them divorce. If your child can go to college, let them go. If they can't go to college, let them do something else. Today there are delicacies, just eat. Tomorrow there is only pickles, steamed buns, and plain water. And there is no resentment, melancholy, and comparison with others. Today there is a luxury villa, just live in it. Tomorrow you only live in a simple thatched house, and you are also content. People praise you, adore you, and there is no joy in your heart. If people scold you and belittle you, you will not feel resentment. In this way, all threats and temptations, defiance and poverty will not be able to bother you. Over time, you will have a clear mind and wisdom will be born. Just like a star, no matter where it orbits, it always shines and heats as usual. And like a diamond, no matter where it is set, it always refracts a colorful halo. Do not use schemes. The mind is like a clear day, clear and discernible, and wisdom is like a rolling river, never stagnant. All schemes are traps woven by the mind, and in the end, they trap oneself. The success of the scheme is beneficial to oneself in the short term on the surface, but in essence, it hurts oneself in the end. As long as the heart is bright and not stained with dust, there is no need to use schemes. All things can still go smoothly. Do not make promises. For people, life is impermanent. There are unexpected winds and clouds in the sky, and there are sudden blessings and misfortunes in people. There are unforeseen circumstances in the plan, and there are unreachable places in the force. You never know what will happen tomorrow. Before becoming a celestial, you cannot control the environment, manage yourself, predict the future, and the promised wish may not be realized. If the promise cannot be realized, you can only find an excuse to replace it. Excuses are lies, and lies can only deceive for a while, and will eventually be exposed. In this way, your promise becomes a shackle and becomes a mental burden, which is harmful to others and yourself. Do not rely on power. The burning power is like burning charcoal, which will eventually turn into ashes, and it is like wind and clouds, changing at any time. Power is the most unreliable and most dangerous backing. Once you rely on power, you will be involuntary, and you will lose the truth. Do not accept favors. Favor is the biggest debt in life. Favor is like a big mountain, always pressing on the heart. A drop of kindness should be repaid with a gushing spring. If you don't repay it, you are a villain. If you repay your favor with revenge, you are a beast. Once you receive someone's favor, you will never be able to repay it in your life. Your heart will not be calm, and you will not be able to have a free and easy life. No ambition. Act and speak according to the Tao every day. Rise at dawn, think, see, listen, and act according to the Tao, and rest at dusk. Cultivate yourself and perceive the Tao. Apart from the desire to become a celestial through the Tao, there are no other desires. As for striving for the country, making the nation strong, glorifying the ancestors, and for future generations, etc., these are all worldly thoughts of ordinary people and should not be imitated. Do not worry about tomorrow. Living only in the present moment, those who spend their lives preparing for their coffins and choosing their graves are severe pessimists. Living today worrying about tomorrow, they will have no joy or happiness in their lives. They are slaves to life. Tomorrow never ends. As long as people are alive, there is always another day. So there is no peace in life. Without peace, it's hard to go far, and without peace, it's hard to perceive the Tao. No thoughts of success or failure, no desire to gain or lose. If a person cannot have a healthy, free life, and ultimately cannot become a celestial, then your success and gains in life are failures and losses. On the contrary, If you finally become a celestial, then the failures and losses in life are successes and gains. Therefore, the common sense of success, failure, gain, and loss are just the standards of ordinary people. You just follow the Tao. Every word you say, every action you take, is like a river flowing downstream, clouds drifting with the wind. It is natural. It should be. Do not have the idea of gaining success. At this time, you have the Buddha nature and the Taoist heart. 10,000 laws return to the Tao, return to one. As long as you grasp one, you will have 9,999. What is one? One is the Holy Spirit, the Dharma, the Tao, the great law of non-action. It is the original appearance of things, the nature. It is the source, without any adornment, without any embellishment, and without the influence of human thoughts, emotions, or will. One is fruits fall off when ripe, a canal formed when water comes. One is without distinction of good and evil, right and wrong, beauty and ugliness, good and bad. One is like the sun in the sky. The moon sheds clear light, the cloud drops. Sweet dew, the sea gives birth to waves. One is without thoughts of success or failure, without desire to gain or lose. Once you grasp one, you will not judge all things and their phenomena with I. You will not be confused by the phenomena of things. You will know the source of things. You will know the Tathagata. You can know the past and future of things. You can get rid of the interference of the world and reach the other shore directly. Once you grasp one, you can become a celestial, become a Buddha. You can travel through time and space and gain eternity. Do not compare with others. Between people, just like their appearances, there is no absolute similarity. Not only are their innate nature, appearance, temperament, character, and wisdom different, but also their life paths are different. You can't walk the path of others. He is him. You are you. He has been promoted, made money, became an expert, went abroad, drove a high-end car. His wife wears gold and silver. His children go to prestigious universities. That is his business. If you compare, you will be endlessly troubled. If you imitate, you will lose yourself. So, in everything, not only should you not compare yourself with others, but you should also always ask yourself, who am I? Only in this way can you dispel the heavy fog and see the light of your true nature. Otherwise, you will live in vain for a lifetime and be drowned in the dust of the world. Seek lightness, not intensity. Eating light food does not hurt the spleen and stomach and can keep you healthy. So, do not drink strong tea, strong alcohol, strong coffee. Do not overeat. Even if it is sour, sweet, bitter, spicy, salty, it should also be light. Living lightly, your muscles and bones are happy. So, do not work for a long time, walk for a long time, squat for a long time, stand for a long time, lie down for a long time, stand for a long time, watch for a long time, listen for a long time, gaze for a long time, think for a long time. Do not seek luxury and comfort in life, only seek appropriateness. Friendship is understated. As the wise say, the friendship of a gentleman is as light as water. Friendships that are light last forever, while intense friendships can turn sour in an instant. Light friends supplement the heart. Intense friends hurt the heart. Seeking lightness in everything will reduce desires, and less desires will reduce troubles. Less troubles will allow you to calm down, and then you can gain wisdom, and then you can perceive the Tao and become a celestial. No leisure or busyness. Like the sun and the moon running, not fast or slow, not busy or idle. Get up and do things at sunrise and rest at sunset. Follow nature. Everything is natural. Everywhere is natural. In this way, all limbs and bones, the internal organs, blood, and meridians will run in order with everything in the universe. You will be healthy and long-lived and not sick. You will be peaceful and spiritual. The receiving ability and transmitting ability of your physiological field will be strong, and it will be easier to connect with the energy of the negative universe, laying the physiological foundation for transcending time and space and becoming a. Do not care about what's left behind. The desire for one's name to live forever, being condemned by posterity, or to become the role model of future generations, etc., are all worldly thoughts of ordinary people. They are the fetters and shackles of life. If you are obsessed with gaining fame, you won't be able to live a carefree and easy life. Just follow your path, and let the common folks comment as they please on what's left behind. No cleverness. Great wisdom appears foolish. The highest wisdom is formless. Displaying cleverness is, in fact, foolish. Cleverness is but a minor skill, a trick of the common folk. The more cleverness you possess, the less wisdom you have. Cleverness can lead to one's own downfall, thus, it's better not to be clever. Do not speak more than necessary. To those with high wisdom, your words are nonsense. To those with low wisdom, your words are profound and difficult to understand. To those with equal wisdom, your words are unnecessary. Once the words are spoken, they can easily be twisted by those who love to nitpick and slander you. Therefore, it is best not to speak more than necessary, so that you can avoid disputes, get rid of troubles, increase wisdom, and make progress. Do not fear death. From a natural point of view, physical death is a necessary thing. Since it is inevitable and unavoidable, whether death comes sooner or later, it is still death. So what is there to fear? From a secular point of view, death is a self-cleaning of garbage. When your living is not beneficial to relatives, others, society, living only adds to the burden of relatives and becomes a burden to society. Insisting on living is like occupying a pit and not defecating, which is selfish and immoral behavior. From a philosophical point of view, death is life, life is death. Without death there is no life. Without life there is no death. If the body does not die, the soul cannot be liberated. Death itself is a kind of transcendence, is another kind of life, is happiness. What is there to fear? From a material point of view, matter is indestructible and can only transform from one state to another. At this time, you have become a god. What is there to fear about death? At this time, you have become a god. What is there to fear about death? Be as wood and stone. Wood and stone, receiving the essence of the sun and moon and the spirit of heaven and earth, remain fearless of the sun and rain, wind and frost. They observe the chirping of insects and birds, the shouting of people and horses with a cold eye, and remain unmoved. If one constantly remembers the great affairs of the world and cares about the suffering of ordinary people everywhere, then there will be no peace in one's heart. Without peace, how can one perceive the Tao? From a higher dimensional perspective, everything in the three-dimensional space is like colorful bubbles that disappear in an instant. What is the need to worry about, save, grasp, or fight for what vanish in a moment? Without a heart like wood and stone, becoming a celestial being is like a bubble, a shadow. Be as clouds. Unrestrained, shapless, without honor or disgrace, without trouble or annoyance, drifting with the wind, not lingering in any beautiful scenery. When there is water, it falls down, nourishes all things. When it meets clouds of opposite charge, it draws a lightning bolt, sounds a thunder, decorates the sky. Otherwise, borrow the heat of the sun and disappear into the vast universe. Be as ice. When things meet fire, they burn. When they meet heat, they rot. When they meet cold, they last. When they meet ice, they are constant. If you can reach the state of heart like ice, feelings like water, there will be no strong feelings of love, hate, and separation. Don't be afraid of ordinary people seeing you as a cold-blooded animal, an inert gas, a weird person. Be as water. The best is like water. I am formless, but can become any shape. I am weak, but can create huge waves. I have no desire, but can nourish all things. I am pure, but can wash away all dirt. I am humble, but all things have to rely on me. No opponents, no enemies. Do not fight with heaven, do not fight with earth, do not fight with people. Be a part of the harmonious nature. Treat insults, defamation, slander, and spreading rumors as plants treat lightning, storms, severe cold and heat, without being moved, without refuting, without arguing, without reasoning. Treat harm, traps, exploitation, and oppression like cliffs treat tsunamis, the earth treats earthquakes, mountains treat volcanic eruptions, and rivers treat reverse stone flows. Just ignore, do not fight back, do not get angry, do not retaliate. Why not fight with heaven? Because people are just a tiny particle in the sky and the universe, pitiful and tiny. Although people call themselves the spirit of all things, they do not know how high the sky is, how big the universe is, where they come from, where they're going, when they will get sick, when they will die. We can't control ourselves, can't manage ourselves. How can we fight with heaven? Why not fight with the earth? Everything on the earth is interconnected, relies on each other, causes and affects each other, and benefits each other. They are mutually beneficial biological plant chain, a perfect system. Any artificial transformation will take care of this and lose the other, destroying the ecological balance inside nature. You use pesticides to kill insects, which means that birds are gone. Mountains become terraces and floods will flood. Grasslands become farmland and dust fills the sky. Deserts become oases and it will bring more severe heat and cold. Pollute rivers, lakes, and seas and diseases will be rampant. Pollute the air and it is difficult to see white clouds and blue sky. Fighting with the earth is equivalent to digging your own grave and turning heaven into hell. Why not fight with people? Wronging others is a disaster. Forgiving people is a blessing. Confronting with people with no Tao in their heart, the result is self-harm. Those who fight people will be fought by people in the end. Those who play people will be played by people in the end. Those who kill people will be killed by people in the end. Those who harm people will be harmed by people in the end. Those who scold people will be scolded by people in the end. Gain is loss, loss is gain. An iron law in the universe is, there is cause and effect, there is fruit and cause, there is loss and gain, there is gain and loss. You don't need to fight with people, just let others bully you. Just like Jesus said, if someone slaps you on the right cheek, turn the other cheek to him too. Ignorant people are confused people, worldly people are scheming people, mortals are smart people, sages are wise people. Most of those who fight people are worldly people, and the final outcome of worldly people is very sad. It is not necessary to argue with them about merits and demerits, gains and losses. In addition, those who fight people have restless hearts, and it is difficult for them to perceive the Tao without a calm heart. If you do not retaliate after being harmed, there will be no worries. Without worries, one can be calm. Calmness brings peace, balance, and clarity. One can perceive the Tao, pursue the Tao, attain the Tao. Attaining the Tao can become a celestial, can enjoy eternity. Why fight with people? The retribution of cause and effect is precise to the smallest detail. Do not fight with people, just follow the Tao, leave the rest to the Tao to manage. The Tao is very fair and will not wrong people. 2.1.do not show ability. Ability refers to talent, intelligence, capability, brilliance, energy, function. The more ability a person has, the higher their value. Ability is like a colorful gem. It must be hidden and not shown off. You should let the world see that you are no different from others. Even if you have the talent of strategizing and gaining a decisive victory 1,000 miles away and an ability to rule the country, you should also look at the world with cold eyes. Once your abilities are revealed, you will become a slave to your own abilities, and you will be enslaved by relatives, others, and society. You will lose control over yourself, and you will have no leisure time to cultivate and improve yourself. Of course, this is not to say that you should not use your ability or ignore your relatives and friends. If you want to help people, it is best to do it in a way that people can't see or touch. Mobilize the energy of the negative universe, make their work smooth, make their family harmonious and happy, make their life safe. Helping people and not letting people know is the way to cultivate one's virtue. It is particularly important to emphasize that during your cultivation, self-improvement, perceiving Tao, and attainment of the Tao, your body is undergoing changes, especially as your mind power becomes stronger and stronger, purer and purer, closer and closer to one. Like a piece of ordinary iron, through continuous magnetization, the molecules inside are constantly arranged in one direction, gradually generating attraction and repulsion. At this time, it is not a piece of ordinary iron, but a magnet. Similarly, during your cultivation, there will be some special functions that you can't imagine happening on your body, such as walking on the water surface, riding the clouds and mist, passing through the wall, moving things with your mind, which are all child's play. Invisibility, earth escape, transformation is not difficult. You hold an iron rod in your hand. Let it bend. It will bend. Let it straight. It will straight. You see a person. Let him go. He will go. Let him stop. He will stop. Let him do what? He will do what? You really understand what is called do whatever you want. Once you start to develop certain abilities, you must constantly remind yourself that you have a long journey ahead before you can transform into a celestial being. If you let your worldly desires take over and show off your abilities to the world at this point, you will deeply regret it. Many people fail at this stage in the process of becoming a celestial being. As for the reason, it is a secret of heaven that I cannot reveal. Because once revealed, it would be like leading a wolf into a flock of sheep, causing disaster to both humans and the celestial world. The higher the ability, the greater the destructive power. Here, I want to emphasize once again that we should not cure diseases for others. As your abilities grow stronger, you will find it effortless to cure diseases, be it fractures, cancer, leukemia, or AIDS, even easier than a breath, and you could even resurrect the recently deceased. So why can't we cure diseases for others? Because all diseases, whether inherited, acquired, caused by accidents, or infectious, are self-inflicted. This is an order in what seems to be chaos, accident, coincidence, misfortune, and ill fate. You reap what you sow, and there is a reason behind every event in the world. The retribution of cause and effect is an iron law in the universe. There is a cause for every effect, and an effect for every cause. The bigger the cause, the bigger the effect. The smaller the cause, the smaller the effect. There is no effect without a cause, and no cause without an effect. Everything is inevitable. There is absolutely no accident. What we call an accident is the understanding we get when we can't find the cause behind it, which is a mistaken and helpless understanding. Everything in the universe is orderly, and order is inevitability. So where is the cause of the disease? Hereditary diseases, congenital diseases, are caused by our ancestors. The ancestors' defiance of the Tao is the cause, and the suffering of the descendants is the effect. The previous generation planted trees, and the next generation enjoyed the shade. The previous generation committed sins, and the next generation suffered. How do diseases in real life come about? Overeating, irregular living, indulging in joy, exhausting labor, too much talk, worry, affection, desire, and greed can all lead to abnormal operation of certain organs and parts of the body, causing pain and disease. A small part of infectious diseases is caused by nature, and the vast majority are caused by society and are also self-made by people. Air, flies, and mosquitoes themselves will not infect you with diseases. In general, 10% of diseases are caused by ancestors, 80% are self-made, 9% are collectively made by humans, and 1% are caused by order. Since the disease is self-made, people should suffer from the disease. Through the torment of disease, people can gain wisdom and know where they have gone too far and should stop. Through the torment of disease, people can reduce the heart of striving for fame and profit and increase the intention of transcending the mundane. Through the torment of disease, they can wake up the people around them and the world to prevent them from happening. If you use special functions to cure it, you will not achieve the above effects. In addition, suffering from disease is a form of repaying debts. If you have own heaven, own the earth, own people, own society, own nature, blaspheme the greatest creator and insult Buddha, you have to repay it. The more you suffer, the lighter your debt. The smoother and flatter your path to becoming a celestial. I say this, not to ask you not to treat the disease when you have it. When you have a disease, you not only need to treat it, but also need to treat it in time. You need to ask a doctor to treat it. The doctor treating diseases is in line with the Tao, but the more important thing is that you need to prevent it yourself and learn to keep in good health. 22. Pay attention to the micro, weak, and small. The micro world is larger, more complex, and stronger than the macro world. It's hard to understand the Tao without noticing the subtle. The concept of constant dripping wears away a stone, and sawing through wood with a rope are macroscopic, while the micro things and influences are invisible and intangible. A towering tree starts from a tiny sprout. A skyscraper starts from a pile of earth. Profound morality comes from every word and deed. Every smile and movement, disasters and blessings start from a thought in the heart. So don't seek the big, just seek the small. Don't seek the obvious, just seek the subtle. Don't seek the strong, just seek the weak. Don't seek the hard, just seek the soft. 23. Do your best. To cultivate to become a celestial, one must first cultivate to be a human. Human cultivation requires doing one's best. Doing one's best is for being free from cares and worries, and being free from cares and worries leads to becoming a celestial. The primary duty of doing one's best is to respect one's parents. It's hard to become a person without filial piety. You grew up sucking your parents' milk, and your parents poured all their heart and blood into your growth process. They were frightened for you and spent countless sleepless nights for you. The selflessness of human beings is most perfectly and vividly embodied in the way parents treat their children. Whether you want to cultivate to become a celestial to unite with Tao, to become a monk to cultivate to become a Buddha, to serve the country, or to make a career. Whether you throw your head and shed blood for your children, or travel north and south for love and friendship. Whether you stride in palaces and courtyards, or are stranded at the ends of the earth, you should first put your parents in your heart. Even if you have 1,000